people do, actually. If you go to your local pharmacy or CVS, they still use those 1-hour photos. It's like, you do realize that there's like a camera on your phone right now.
Uses a local pharmacy anymore.
Yeah.
How out of touch are people?
Well, we'll see how in touch some of these teams are for the pick and ban phase. We have both teams bringing 9 classes, 1 deck per class, and we asked them to ban 2 of them in a blind pick. So a lot of cases we've been seeing Druid and Priest be banned. And then after that, we asked the teams to self-ban, bringing only 6 classes to the table from which they'll play a last year standing best of 11. Druid banned to start things off. We haven't seen Druid in weeks. Will we see Priest be banned as well? We have. And of course, we've been seeing Hunter be excluded. I'm a prophet.
Yeah.
I have a gift. It's like I have ESPN or something.
Well, it's totally, I mean, so do I. I mean, it's not that much a month for
I
it.
know. It's like, what, $10 a month now these days?
If that. And yeah, that's really like a big story to talk about that. We'll get that in a moment. Tyson's going to be on Warlock and Paladin, RDU on Rogue and Shaman. Nyriea's going to be on Mage and Warrior. The Druid and Priest bans, the thing about those 2 decks that, I mention this every single week, but I feel the need to as well, is that those decks are counterable. The thing about it is they require a fairly large dedication of cards in order to counter them. And in a format with Trinity Series where you're going to be playing 6 classes, it's difficult to dedicate that many cards across your board to beating that matchup. And so when you have an edge against it, you're like 55 to 57% if you dedicate it pretty heavy, but how much does that affect the rest of the matchups that you would expect to play here?
And how much will Naaman's absence this week play a role into it? We have got notification that he was unable to make it. Casey and Bunny Hopper will be picking up the slack. Casey will be, of course, playing Rogue, one of his favorite classes, not his most favorite class in Hearthstone. And then Bunny Hopper will be taking up the Shaman. Casey, of course, a mid-season substitution for Dr. Hippie. And he's been doing a very good job of it. Not only, of course, playing very well, but also bringing a fresh perspective. Casey is a renowned control player, loves doing really cool stuff, has a weird N'Zoth fetish, just loves putting it in every single deck, even if it's not applicable. Yeah. I mean, let's be real. There's a little N'Zoth fetish in all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's a little bit N'Zoth oriented.
I have seen that anime, and it does not end pretty for most people, at least the adversaries in the Zoth. We're going to kick things off with Bunny Hopper, and it looked like RDU was playing for G2.
Yeah, something I want to talk about Casey in the substitution. Each team was allowed 1 permanent roster change throughout Trinity Series. Once you made that roster change, you could not go back. And we've seen that exercised a number of times across teams, but Bunny Hopper really stepped up this season and was the leader of Virtus Pro verbally. Dr. Hippie's not a man of a lot of words. Naaman likes to put in his 2 cents, but he likes going on a vote delegation a lot of times. With Casey coming in, there was a large verbal discussion between Bunny Hopper and Casey throughout the first week, and a lot of times they were going different directions. The next week we saw them meld a little bit better together, and now this week, that presence of Naaman is absent. And so with only 2 players there, the vote system not going to work quite as well, and the pilot is going to be making that final decision.
Yeah.
The teams collaborate with each other as they're playing these games, which we'll hear throughout Trinity Series, but now it's up to the pilot to decide if they're split on decisions, and I'm curious if that dynamic is gonna affect Virtus Pro this week.
Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it helps to not have an extra person muddling the conversation, because the third person can often be one spotting alternative play lines, but also could be adding a lot of confusion to the actual decision making. How many times have we seen teams say, wait, what are we doing? And the rope's burning down because they talk so much, and it's important to take action, be decisive. Rogue versus Mage to kick things off. G2 had quite the awkward opening hand with Patches, Shadow Step, Lich King. That already tells us a little bit what kind of deck list they're playing, with the Serenite Chain Gang as well being included in there. Yeah,
I've seen Serenite start to rotate into some of these Rogue lists. It's a card that holds off big threats fairly well when you're trying to make a push on your opponent. However, at the same token, it is quite a weak card in a lot of matchups, and I think Mage is particularly one of those matchups. It can get in a lot of damage by chipping away, because Mage doesn't like to put a lot of resources into killing a couple of 2/3s, but they'll often be fighting well on board. It's just this particular hand from Virtus Pro is going to have a tougher time fighting against that. I do also want to touch on your third-person perspective a little bit more. Last week...
I only play first-person Hearthstone. Sorry. I'm exclusively a FPP player.
I like third-person myself. I mean, you and I know we've had our share of
third-person
moments. And with G2, last week, RDU was that third voice, and it cost them game number 1 in his very confident declaration that Alex Straza, the opponent, was in fact lethal. And if you go back and find the clip from it, it was game number 1 with G2 last week.
Oh, that determined a lot of the series.
Oh,
it could be series losing it.
It was a miscalculation of lethal, and RDU ended up his declaration that it was lethal ended up losing the game because they didn't ultimately trust him. And Nyria even went, "What are you doing, man?" And I'm glad that they got over that really quickly because you could see that, or you could hear rather, that it was very quiet in their comms when we were listening in after that. But that's one of the big strengths of G2 is that when they have one of those moments, they can recover very quickly and recollect themselves and realize we still have a series to win.
If you make the decision by yourself and it's a huge misplay, it's often series defining, it's really difficult to get out of your own head. But you always have other people to bring you out. That's where I think, you know, as much as people recently have been giving Tice a lot of, you know, crap for not being always on top of things because he's been focusing primarily on streaming, his optimism is a huge boon for those kinds of moments.
It certainly is. Let's go ahead and listen to Virtus Pro. Their hand has no options this turn, but let's hear how they want to take this game matchup.
Just play with the coin.
Yeah, we can just ping and attack phase and then chill.
Observe
Yep.
and reflect.
That is nice.
Okay, just captain, I guess.
Should I wait a little bit more?
No.
Yeah, like if we would have hit, we could have played also like patches and then hero power to have subsea captain later. But I think it's fine to not hit.
I wonder.
I mean, you can also save the captain patches for next turn, but then this turn is too weak, right? I mean, you can go stretch burglar.
I mean, they are not going to play like double spell of like Frostball of Curve is not that great either. So it's fine to play just captain here.
Yeah, just go. I guess just captain.
We don't hit, right?
Nah.
Reason to.
Wait a second. So this is actually tough. What about
Yeah, that's-
fireball? That's. Oh, whoa.
Where do they have patches plus SI?
I mean, I'd really love to go in for the 9 drops, but
Yeah, for current flame strike.
I mean, if you go with the intellect, you get punished by patches and sign. That's worse. So I think that's that we have to use fireball now,
Yeah, I agree.
because we need to trade with one where even if we play the intellect, then that's just really bad. Going fireball, I think I get behind that one.
We also could go arcane intellect and then coin. Let's coin the fireball. But then you have to trade anyway. And then like if you fireball again, I'm only scared of Scalebane. Of that, I'm really scared.
I like it.
They can dagger the mana worm.
Ah, but do you want to?
I'd rather put patches next turn into Mana Arm than face tank another 3.
Now it's kind of late to hit it with the hero power.
Yeah, this is the reason why I wanted to hit it on turn 2.
I mean, it's preemptively hit it, so they can't use spell, then we hit. Oh, you would want to take 3 for patches life. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to maybe throw the patches in.
Okay, sure. It's fine then.
Up to you guys.
Yeah. I want to hit face here.
I wonder.
Question is it worth it? 3 life of 1/1?
Yeah, but then we had to hit that to turn 2. I mean, it's not that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I would have liked to hit it on turn 2 if this is your idea, Neria.
We can just throw patches in. Patches has 0 value now.
I'm not saying 0 value, but
I think it's okay to hit it. Because we're gonna hit it next turn.
Okay, you can hit it now. I mean, maybe otherwise, if you don't play on the patches, yeah, they play the fireball. They cannot burn us.
okay, but
That's my reason.
we take extra damage now.
I mean,
We interrupt this listening for a breaking news update. Naaman actually is at the airport.
Yes.
And is calling in. Very similar to what Dog did, I think, 2 weeks ago. Or was it last week?
I don't...
He had to join in, primarily through a mobile conversation.
Yeah, I don't...
And was not able to actually play.
I don't actually recall who that was, but he is at the airport, and so he's able to communicate. He's just not able to play because there's not a way for them to adequately spectate them while he's able to actually communicate with the team as well.
That's right.
So
What
not
does
as
this
much
mean for Virtus Pro Esports?
I mean, it could be in dire straits here. What if Naiman's flight has to take off immediately?
Yeah.
This could be a disaster.
Yeah. We'll keep you posted on all things Trinity here. Do we have a news network? TNN? The Trinity News Network? Doesn't actually roll off the tongue there.
It'd be fake anyway.
Kind of centering back on this game, both teams having a little bit of an awkward draw, but that does tend to really favor the mage because given time, they should be able to win back the board. And you see that Virtus Pro has one of the most important cards in Frosted Jaina to really stabilize because Rogue will end up giving them a lot of targets to hero power as time goes on, some of those water elementals, but that's all about whether or not Rogue can build up enough pressure, and with a patches draw, it does complicate things significantly.
This is really a key turn here for G2 as well. Last week, we saw, I believe it was Team Lots, they delayed Shaku right until turn 6, and they played it so that way they had a stealth minion on board so that they could guarantee the Bone Mare next turn. I would have liked to see G2 do that exact same thing here, because I think this turn 5 Shaku here gives Virtus Pro an opportunity to kill this before it's guaranteed to land as a Bone Mare target. Maybe they intend to Shadow Step it or something weird, or they're going to intend to leave it stealth sometimes or what have you. But I would have liked to see them play that Cabal Courier and delay that Shaku right until turn 6 so that they could try to guarantee that Bone Mare on it.
Yeah, at the same time, they have Leroy and Shadow Step, so they might not want to wait for that opportunity as well. But I think if you think about the natural curve progression, turn 6 Shaku, turn 7 Bone Mare, turn 8 Leroy Shadow Step.
Right.
That is a very smooth curve, and I'd be hard-pressed to argue against a better line with their hand. Let's go ahead and start tuning in back to the teams and see how Virtus Pro is going to handle this pressure and how they want to partition their resources.
On turn 7, we could go Valet, Barrier, and
Oh, we can go Fireball. Yeah, we can go Fireball ping.
Yes, so I like Potion.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, with the intellect, we can just draw Frostball, but I don't think that we want to.
No, I think it's either Barrier or Volcanic Potion, and I like Volcanic Potion because it sets up better for the up.
Yeah.
This way, if we go Fireball, only don't say it. I don't talk about the card in the see here.
attack.
Yeah, let's draw a card.
So we attack first with Shaku?
Yeah,
Yeah.
every time.
Do we play that?
Play that.
I think we play that because of Bone Mare too.
They already used one Fireball. They might Polymorph, but Polymorph is not good enough.
You
They
play
can
it.
Meteor.
So we played attacking Redecker.
You play Water Elemental here every time.
Okay. No, I'm considering maybe we should play Patches too.
Think.
Why?
So if they Meteor, we can play Patches in the middle. So if they Meteor, they don't kill Shaku. If they Polymorph, we still have a target for Bone Mare. It's basically plays around Meteor the best. Because if you play Jaspotator and Redagger, they Meteor, they have no board and no Bone Mare target.
Okay.
I wonder.
Do you agree, Tide?
I'm okay with it. I'm not sure if I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more scared of freezes here. But
They
yeah.
don't run freezes.
Blizzard maybe one.
No, they don't run it.
Not even.
Unless
okay.
they change the deck. But so far we see the same cards.
Wait, don't even run Blizzard?
This
feel
is
like
enough for Bomber.
Yeah, they're setting up for the Bone Mare. What can we practically do about a Bone Mare?
There must be a way.
Even Glyph isn't. There is no high roll for in Glyph, so.
Yeah, but Fireball ping just seems way too obvious. I mean, we need to ping that for sure. We get the second Volcanic Potion from the Intellect. It might be good.
And reflect.
Yeah, but that's still like
And
I don't want to use this an intellect like for the rest of the game. Pretty much.
Yeah, Fireball ping.
Yeah, I like Fireball ping the most. Like next turn we play Secret Valley and
Patches was nice here.
Yeah, good call, Navia.
Yeah.
So just Bone Meg, right?
Yeah.
Bone the
Bone
face.
They will probably portal.
Can I attack with a dagger?
Yeah, you do.
So I wanna go Kier and attack dagger again next turn. Let's maximize dagger.
I think you always attack with the dagger.
Let me. So we hit them for 5. They will portal. We hit them for 5 again. They at. Yeah, we should attack. Doesn't matter.
This is a kind of a brilliant line here from G2 to play patches on 6 when I was kind of confused if that was actually going to work out, primarily because it felt like they were giving up a good synergy with patches and Bodemir. That's a good way to recuperate your losses.
Ooh, nice pull from this Meteor, though. Either Cone of Cold or Meteor. Did I say from this Meteor? From this Primordial Cliff. With either Meteor or Cone of Cold. So the Meteor cuts some of the damage immediately and weakens the rest, where the Cone of Cold cuts all the damage and sets up the Flame Strike. So it really depends on how Virtus Pro wants to think about this turn, but my gosh, the patches was very brilliant. And Iria spotted exactly that Virtus Pro would want to Fireball and then Hero Power the Shaku. The Water Elemental, of course, just being a difficult minion to kill, and then the Shaku threatening the extra value.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any spot in which we pick Ice Block as well, but without the coin, you can't really have Blood Mage coin Flame Strike as a real threat to follow up next turn.
Yeah.
So Cone of Cold
like it.
Seems to be the best to mitigate the amount of damage.
The other thing, too, is we heard Virtus Pro talking about the Arcane Intellect. I think the Ice Barrier is personally just better, and I actually think the Ice Barrier is better than the Blood Mage this turn, but since they saw the Dagger attack, what they're anticipating is another Dagger next turn, so they want to have the Ice Barrier available for the Medivh's Valet. And that's why they play the Blood Mage here, to weaken it in range of the Medivh's Valet.
And how powerful is a card like Karin in this spot? I mean, people are talking about how Karin is just something sticky onto the board, but your opponents have already shown kind of a back-to-back weak plays, right? They've used both their fireballs and ping, and they haven't been able to really utilize their chain freeze. You're either afraid of them holding a lot of freezes for later on, or their hand must be awkward, which ends up being the case for Virtus Pro for at least a couple more turns. Let's go ahead and tune in to G2 and see how they're going to navigate this crucial turn 8.
I don't feel like it's a good investment.
Nah, I think Karin is better. Because Karin doesn't set up the lethal.
Just top deck, haha. It's still lethal.
It actually is, or Cold Blood.
I think.
wait a second.
Do we play Temple Archaeologist?
You mean Valet?
Oh yeah, well.
There must be a way.
Yeah, I would.
Because the next turn will go Jaina.
I don't. We have a lot of options next turn. I would not make any conclusions for the next turn, but this turn is, I think, is Meteor and Valet. A 2-3 on board is awesome. Like, not awesome, but it's great, decent.
Fine. Excuse me, you are on fire.
Okay. File spine. 5. 17.
Courier Valspine?
Let's play Courier first.
We can also Dark Reaper, we don't need to Valspine.
Yeah, we can backstab it.
You also have the backstab.
Fresh from Kazakhstan.
Crystal Weaver? Or is Death?
What if they play Jaina? They die, right?
Do they die?
What then? Okay.
I think Crystal Weaver is the best because Shadow Blast is only usable on Medivh, and they probably not even.
They die with Medivh, they die with Alex. I will pick Crystal Weaver. And is it better play here?
I think it's better. Crystal Weaver and backstab it. Backstab it 2-3.
And positioning Crystal Weevil on...
But at the same time,
The right.
I don't know, man.
I don't mind Valve spawning.
I like Wildspin more.
And hit face, right?
Yes.
Valve spawn on the right?
Yeah, on the right.
We set up.
Yeah, we set up lethal this way, it's true.
If he would backstab and hit it, then Leroy...
So they need 10 damage from hand.
Leroy and Coldblood. Can we play around it?
And reflect.
You can play Mono and Polymorph and then Ice Barrier. That would actually be like decent. I wouldn't mind that play.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
The question
Is
is,
that better
do
than
you wanna...
Jaina?
Yes, if you wanna play around Coldblood and Leroy.
Do we?
I mean, the next turn, still Flame Strike will be bad, so yeah, I think Polymorph is the thing.
Yeah, yeah. And next time we just play Ice Block.
Somehow G2 is pushed Virtus Pro to the limit here, despite Virtus Pro having a lot of time to master resources with some of their most powerful cards.
Ooh.
G2 double backstab draw is not what they were looking for.
It's not, and honestly, this is now suddenly a tough spot for G2. You really get a sense of how difficult this matchup is with how much damage G2 has gotten through, how little Virtus Pro has been able to like superbly respond to the board, and still Virtus Pro is looking like they're going to get out of this because of this Flame Strike that's coming up. Now, G2 doesn't know that, of course, but they don't have the damage to finish here, and after that Flame Strike, if they don't have a big reload, that Jaina or the Alexstrasza is going to completely shut down this push.
So Virtus Pro is effectively at 22. There's 6 damage on board. They go down to 16.
I think G2 ends up going for it a lot of times here.
Just like playing Leroy and going,
Yeah,
and, like,
or at
shadow
the-
stepping it back to your hand.
Yeah, like maybe you hang on to the Leroy afterwards, so that way you can try to draw Cold Blood.
Right.
The fact that there's no Ice Block is a little bit of breathing room.
But you could still set up the Tar Creeper and Crystal Weaver, and if they don't have Flame Strike, because something that I misspoke earlier is that I was talking about the traditional control mage lists, but we have a removal heavy mage with no freezes, no doomsayers with Virtus Pro. They've been bringing this for quite some time now. So if you know that they don't have freeze-centric stuff, they have to have that Flame Strike, and they've already used one Meteor.
I like the Tar Creeper here. It would have gotten checked, but now
Just a hedge.
I think it's clear skies for Virtus Pro after this Flame Strike. They can set an Ice Block as well.
Yeah, or even if they're greedy, they can play Arcane Intellect to increase their options. The thing is, though, Ice Block sets up for Frosted Jaina, and then you can Arcane Intellect with freedom.
Yeah, or it sets up for the Alexstrasza turn. Like, say your opponent pops your block one big turn because of mass damage, or they can't pop your block just barely. That Alexstrasza can play the role of another Ice Block. So I like the set of it here. Look for Jaina on the following turn, and then try to completely stabilize this game. 12, 13, 14, 15 damage available for Virtus Pro. I'm sorry, for G2, not for Virtus Pro.
Right.
And that Tar Creeper would have either forced off this Ice Block, or it would have forced that extra damage. Let's say it's in a G2. You're so close, but so far away.
It'll be at 13.
Oh, okay, yeah, that way. No, that is fine, yeah. Yeah, then it's better against Alex, right? And it's better against Jaina.
They'll probably have one of those at this point.
That might be Medivh, let's hope.
We never Leroy here for tempo, right?
No.
It's not a tempo.
So just deckhand.
If you Leroy,
No, you don't. There's no benefit in Leroy.
Yeah, there's benefit in Leroy if you don't shadow step it, but then it's risky because they can kill it.
Okay. Sure.
We just have to hope they don't have Jaina. I don't think the first two cards are Jaina, because they use their coin.
It's only maybe.
No, the Arcanology is good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That's my girl. Play her. Let's go. Aha.
We can proc them. Oh no, we cannot. It's 11 mana.
Well, we lost. We have to go for the board now.
Backstab Isai, trade the deckhand into the elemental.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I guess. But at this point, we never win.
This
Unless they draw really bad.
Lich King or Bone Mare is what we want.
So we play Archaeologist first, right?
So that's like Leroy Coldblood.
Yeah, seems like that. It should be. It might be a bit
Wait, what we
great.
draw?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a point in just buying for the Violence Portal or the Polymorph?
I don't think so. Like, if we draw Fire Lens Portal next turn, we are happy anyway.
That Portal something now.
Like, we
Right,
just...
just Archaeologist, Intellect, and then
Yes.
Crossbow probably, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible discovery.
Yeah, incredible discovery. I think we Volcanic Potion and make one of these funny dudes.
Yes.
One of these funny dude.
They're really funny.
Yeah.
Because they heal us. And that's pretty gutsy boss.
They are really cold. And what? Haha.
Well, it looks like this is pretty much done deal here. G2 is very far behind, and they have no way to actually pressure the life total. And Frosted Jaina seems like it's going to have a continual train and also big threats. Because honestly, you can even just play Alexstrasza for tempo.
Yeah. Winter has arrived. Despite the Vile Spine draw here to shut this back off, the Shadow Step to get around the setup, Virtus Pro has so much in hand to continue this onslaught.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And that's where the double polymorph, double meteor list really helps, because it gives you so much ways to create one health minion situations.
It takes a long time for stuff to freeze.
Yeah.
Like even if you put like a carbonated drink inside the freezer, sometimes it won't freeze if you just catch it in time. And that's like what this is like. I mean, G2 can't catch it in time though. They just don't have the option to do that, but they're going to get frozen over here. It's going to explode in the freezer.
Yeah, not looking that good. Granted that there are ways to loosen this spot, but I just have a hard time thinking of scenarios where Bunny Hopper and Casey can't figure it out here.
Put it lightly.
I mean, just think about it. Like, how can they realistically lose it? They just keep summoning a single water elemental, because it'll go at worst 1-for-1 with most of Rogue's cards.
Yeah.
Which means that it's good enough to heal you back to full life. Despite all that, G2 still picks up more damage. And you know, of course, the really funny thing about having Leroy being played is that some of these whelps.
It's not time for them to give up yet. I mean, they can still get more information about Virtus Pro's deck, and that's oftentimes the sole reason you keep playing in this scenario is that you can gain an edge down the road.
Well, there is also this very, very, very corner case scenario where G2 picks up a Swashbuckler, picks up like their own Frosted Jaina, and like plays for fatigue because of how much deeper mages into their deck.
That is a possibility.
Like, that is like a 0.01% chance of like that happening.
Like, think to Hearthstone Global Games when Amnesiac cast the Hallucination, and they didn't take the Frostlich Jaina off of it very early in the game. And later down the road, that Frosted Jaina, I think, would have won them that game. Not that G2's playing Hallucination, but they are playing that Swashbuckler, so that is still a very faint possibility right up about until this Alexstrasza.
Well, I mean, like you said, they're doing their due diligence, but it's looking less likely by the minute here for a G2 victory, and Virtus Pro just going to continue to drag it out. I mean, yeah, just push damage is all you really need. Yeah. Nice little sequence to make sure that they get a water elemental, not crushing everything. And that's going to be it. Even if G2 gets the Miracle Swashbuckler, they don't have enough time anymore.
So they got the info of 2 Meteors, which I think helps solidify that read that Nyria had early on. That there were no freezes in this deck, and then it was strictly a removal version. And that edge can be important down the road. This is the final week of Trinity Series. Every single game is going to matter because a match win here is a decider.
Right, and for G2 and Virtus Pro specifically, a win means that they're in. A series victory ensures the finals berth, and both of those teams are looking for an opportunity to come out. I mean, Virtus Pro has unfinished business from Season 1. They got to the top 3, and unceremoniously lost to Luminosity right there before they were able to get to the, to Complexity before, they were able to really finish off Season 1 very strongly. Despite all that, on the other side, G2 has a reputation to maintain here. They for a long time were touted as the top team in Hearthstone when Life Coach was on the roster. And now with Nayria, you can argue that they're back at that power level. However, they just don't have the results.
Personally, on paper, I think they're stronger with Nayria.
Than Life Coach.
Yes. Whew. I mean, Life Coach has a history of results under his belt, but Nayria has a bigger history of results under his belt. I mean, it's hard to deny two championships this year, plus the World's Birth that's going on.
Considering that Nayria has an extra year of Hearthstone accolades, which has greatly planted himself as one of the top players from his region. Also, he's Ukrainian, which tends to also mean that he's good at Hearthstone.
All right, something in the water.
It's a very positive stereotype.
Yes. It's nothing wrong with a positive stereotype. I'll take positive stereotypes anywhere I can get them for myself, personally. Like how guys with beards are stronger and more handsome. I will definitely take that. There's Tice.
I want to live in that same world of optimism that you. Tice coming up here for G2, able to strike back. Now, given the circumstances, I think a lot of people would always be very upset losing the first game of the last year's standing series. But I think Virtus Pro won the mind games to start things off. Game 1 tends to be heavy on the reads for a lot of teams. There's one team that tends to start off on the best overall deck, like a very strong deck to start off as Rogue, because Rogue just is very good against stuff. Or some people play other decks that are very versatile, like the Zoo Warlock. You can always just curve out and play its game plan. But then we have some teams making the counter read, saying, well, we know that people like to start off with generically good decks. We'll pick the best deck against that. So if people are starting Rogue a lot, that's where you queue in Mage.
Right, and that's where this removal Mage really started to have a birth, was the rise in popularity from Rogue and decks that are very similar to it, where they need to stick a threat on board in order to really deliver a lot of damage. An aggressive deck that fights well against that, however, happens to be this Paladin that could come in, but that is a big loop we are thrown for. There's an Equality and a Doomsayer in the hand, and G2 is choosing to queue this into Mage, and I'm quite surprised by this. The aggressive Murloc Paladins do a number on the removal-based mages. They're able to push out a lot of damage early on, where Synergy helps you deliver that damage, but you don't need a ton of it on board in order to really keep that pressure very high. The kicker to that is if Virtus Pro has, say, 2 Volcanic Potions, then that push can get squelched throughout the mid-game, and that can shut things down. But G2 is choosing to queue up a deck that's very, I think, similar to the way the Rogues operates in the last matchup, where their goal is to just time after time get a threat on board and threaten bigger value with it. I'm curious how well this works out for G2, because a couple of their cards are quite worthless in this matchup. I'm thinking specifically Doomsayer and Equality, just not the greatest options when it comes to this style of play.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious to see how it functions, overall in last year's standing, if this is what G2 wanted to do against Mage from the beginning. Although Mage, with a Mana Wyrm Arcanologist draw, is the highest percentage win rate for this deck when you have that 1-2 play.
That's right. Something else to note, though, is that Virtus Pro mulliganed away Jaina, and if they knew that this was a slower Paladin matchup, I think they would be inclined to keep that card. So that is a +1 for G2, the fact that Virtus Pro, I think, very likely thinks that this is a Murloc Paladin deck, as we see Bunny Hopper summoning the power of Sifka there and taking a bite of a banana.
Must be a way.
All right, let's go ahead and start tuning into the teams and see how they're going to shape up these early turns.
No, it's not.
Nah, we pass.
For example, if you get a Kings, we could have coined Doomsayer into Hydrologist, into Defender, and then Kings it. Get the full tempo going. No, really not.
Do you think this is Murloc?
Yes.
Might be the Control Paladin, but Control Paladin isn't that good. I mean, they need to play this matchup really well.
Yeah. And we need to really bad.
Yeah, Control Paladin against such Mage isn't a great matchup. If they waste the 1 Equality, they're just getting wrecked.
Yep.
Sure.
Incredible discovery.
And I'm pretty sure it's a Murloc Paladin.
Doomsayer here, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
try our best and luck.
it's only Frostbolt.
Ogleaf.
And even... Nah, Frostbolt's kinda annoying if you don't have Rallying Blade here.
Then we have to play Stonehill. We don't want a coin.
Yeah. Let's hope we draw Equality or Rallying Blade.
Yeah, even cons can help.
Let's
it will
hope
be
we have
fine.
an answer and they will
If they
just
don't,
play
and
Secret
even
Bolt.
Frostbolt, I can even see them not using it here. So
Nah, there's no way.
Secret, nice.
That's
Nice.
good. That's really good.
Nice. Okay, Stonehill.
Then it's even good, man, that they had this away. Yeah, we go Stonehill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tyrion?
What beast do we have? We already drew Hydrologist, so Curator is not really...
We don't have any beast either.
We can consider Stegodon for just the curve purpose.
Shall I Stegodon or Tyrion?
I think it's Tyrion. I don't think Stegodon is doing enough, and
I mean,
if we
Tyrion
just
is
need to hit this
polymorphed,
tier.
But yeah, I guess it's fine. Yeah, Tyrion is okay.
I would pick Tyrion too.
Sure.
I really like the discussion that we can even hear. It almost feels like, you know, Verspro just echoed what we were talking about whether or not Control Paladin is actually a viable counter to the Mage. And I think Naaman summarized it best. He said, yeah, they can win, but they have to play really well in order to do it, because this can be really tough for the Paladin if not.
And their initial read on it was that since it was such a weak queue up into the matchup, by their perception, that it must be Murloc Paladin.
Right.
If they knew that it was Control Paladin, there's a chance that they delay the Mana Worm for a key turn, or that they don't play the Arcanologist and try to just mitigate a Doomsayer in some situations.
Right.
And as G2 said, the fact that they had the Mana Worm, Arcanologist, no Frostbolt opening to go with it, meant that the Doomsayer bought a lot of value in this matchup.
Yeah.
So I think G2 is on even footing from this spot. And Virtus Pro can still get out of it, but I'm looking at that Tyrion, I'm looking at that Uther, I'm looking at that Spike Ridge Steed, and that's a lot of stuff Virtus Pro's going to have to get through.
Tyrion and Uther's 30 damage in combination.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Usually the damage isn't the thing that they come up short with, it's the resources. So, you know, if this is a lot like Love You Lots' build last week, where they didn't have Tyrion naturally in the deck, they just had a lot of top-end elements, G2 can still get there, but...
Well, I think the Doomsayers already tip us off that it's not, because I believe Love You Lots last week had a much more curve-centric build where they have early Murlocs with like Tidecaller, Rockpool Hunter, War Leader, Gentle Megasaur. They also had Hydrologist in it, but then they also shifted the top end to have like crazy amounts without Tyrion.
Yeah.
To the point where we said this is just a weird Murloc Menagerie fusion deck, properly called PF Jenks Paladin. G2 just seems to have a good old Control Paladin, which a lot of people actually still play. There's just like Control Warrior and Freeze Mage, there's a dedicated Control Paladin player base out there that, despite every meta, whether it's good or bad, they play this deck.
Look, I like Control Paladin. It's just very hard to make work when you're getting Vile Spined.
True.
Yeah.
True. But Equality's still a hell of a card, and G2 is looking like, once again, disrupting Virtus Pro's plays. Let's see how they're going to navigate this.
If they run Eater of Secrets, at least we know that what they run.
That's true. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't like to show the cards from our hand, especially if they play Distress. It's unlikely, but I mean, they are gonna be afraid of the card in our hand, and this way we're just showing that we have the barrier. And yeah, I mean, are we afraid of dying? Do we need 8 armor? No, never. So yeah, and just hiding information.
Yeah.
Hiding information, I think, is way more important.
Yeah, and it's also better with Mana Worm draw.
Yeah.
Even though it's a little difference to no. I think it's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, we play that. We play that every time.
Sure, do it. They already played Valet.
Now I wonder if they... Yeah, boys.
Point.
The thing is that if they fireball it, we cannot steed.
No, but we get a coin. It did its job.
Yeah, if you play like Hydrologist, we can't win anyway. I mean, we lose to Volcanics. It's even worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they cannot really overdraw us either.
If they fireball this minion, that means that they have less chance to burn us. Way less.
Yeah, and I mean, then the bully did his job. It goes 1 for 1 and we gain a coin. That's all we need, man.
Yeah.
Is this paladin even favored against the mage?
The DK one,
40K,
we have the ice block.
40K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
both Hydra.
Yeah, probably both.
Redemption or Getaway Kodo.
I think Kodo, and we play second Hydrologist and play Kodo.
Yeah, I like that.
Get another Kodo or on the Redemption?
We could consider Repentance for Medivh.
The thing is that
But we don't want to play it. Like, we need to keep a secret too.
No, for next turn. Since if we play Getaway Kodo, we'll get another Hydrologist right now, and we'll have another secret.
Okay.
So we can play like Getaway Kodo now and Repentance next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Hits the steed more often too now. It's fine.
And like Steed Repentance is pretty strong against Medivh.
Wow. Burgly Bully inside this Paladin.
It's
They keep the
unexpected.
coins, plural, instead of coining out the Tyrion on their last turn.
Must be a way.
Dan, I think they have Auction Master Beardo in here with that Uther. I
not.
really do.
Yeah.
Why would they save the coin otherwise?
Well, because they had a lot of heavy hand, like they could coin out Uther, before they also now could have considered coining out Tyrion. I do actually, in hindsight, like this double Hydrologist play over the double coin 8-drops, because then it smooths out their curve. Next turn they can coin 8-drop into an 8-drop, and then even have the option and flexibility to coin out Uther if they say play Ragnaros and pressure with the 15 life, 15 damage. What's the name of the weapon for Uther?
Great
Vengeance. We said that last week.
I think you're wrong, man. I think they have Beardo.
All right, I'm willing to be wrong on that one because that'd be sick. And considering that they have so many cheap spells, they have 2 secrets and a coin. Isn't that the magic formula?
Yes. I think they have Beardo, man.
That'd be so crazy.
Legendary is what it would be.
I mean, I was gonna say that'd be epic, but you're right. That would be legendary.
You think it's Tempo Storm. This is how you become legendary. You win in the final week of Trinity with Auction Master Beardo Paladin. Wow. With Frodan Paladin.
Yeah, that's right. People, well, okay. People said Auction Master Beardo was Frodan, but then Shadowy Branduin came out. That's my card.
How do you get Paladin and Priest, man? That's just unfair.
Well, it's 2 of my favorite classes.
Weird.
Actually, that's not true. My 2 favorite classes are Shaman and Rogue, but I do like Priest a lot, and I do enjoy the occasional Paladin.
G2 takes the Noble Sacrifice here over the other Kodo. And I think that's specifically to try and disrupt either a Water Elemental or an Alex Strauss or a Medivh on a key turn.
Yeah, because they're coming up on the turns. You heard them talk about it. Medivh, Alex Strauss, these big, heavy swing turns from Mage. Virtus Pro doesn't really have it, though. They have Firelance Portal. Let's do it. Go ahead and tune in.
But no, I don't think so.
I don't think it's good enough.
Just get Leroy.
Yeah, just get Leroy.
The game begins.
Quite Leroy.
Oh, is it Steed better?
no.
I think
I
Steed
think-
might be better because isn't it good that they now gonna burn us a little bit? Then we go Rag into Uther. They still have a glyph card.
We also could go Bully Noble Sacrifice.
Can they kill us?
Fireball,
They can't kill
Frostbolt.
us. They can't.
They have a card from Glyph.
So you want to play Tyrion, right?
Let me think.
Yeah, I kind of like Tyrion, I think.
I kind of like Rock the most. Just to heal now. Because if we play Tyrion or something, it gets killed and then they push too much.
I'm not really scared of getting burnt here with Uther and and Rag.
I kind of like Rag. It doesn't matter to them. Play whatever you want. Tyrion is
Play,
also good
play it on the right.
We can play Rag next turn.
Put your faith in the
Yeah, I don't want it to get meteored here.
Same.
Like, it's so nice if you wait one more turn.
Unless we die.
Yeah, but we can't. Uther heals for 10, man.
Exactly. And also, it's like 9 mana. They
Like
cannot
this heals more over time. It heals more over time, this. And we need to heal over time.
Yeah, okay, they can only deal 15 with 9 mana.
If we were at 15, I'd play Reg.
We don't really care about Ashbringer either.
I don't really like the Flame Strike.
I like it.
I like Portal Face and
Because it sets up lethal as well.
Exactly. Like the minimum goes to 2, they go down to 14, so we potentially have lethal if they do
What?
double fireball frostball.
They don't go to 14. Oh, with the mana when attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, like it. Now, yeah, and place it down to it. Kill Tyrion. No.
Sure.
The good.
Yeah, we can consider the noble.
I don't
But
like it.
You don't like it, guys?
Mm-mm.
Then we just hit with the Ashbringer.
Yeah, hit with Ashbringer Rug is perfectly fine.
It only like bluffs the thingy. I think we can use Noble later. Like it doesn't do anything right now.
So they didn't really use burn yet. It's a little dangerous.
They used quite a lot of utility though.
Noble sacrifice when they had a very easy opportunity to do so, saving both coins. Second Burglary Bully. I think you're onto something. Admirable just a turn or two ago was saying that he thinks that this might be the Exodia Paladin, where you combine Auction Master Beardo with the 4 horsemen on Uther of the Ebon Blade. And I think I think you might be correct. That is ridiculous. And also, if that's actually true, that is awesome from G2.
Yeah. So something else to note here is that the Noble Sacrifice take turns ago was quite brilliant from G2. I mean, they were looking at turns like this one, where if they heal up and Virtus Pro has Alex Strauza, that G2 gets to play the Noble Sacrifice and the Uther
to stop him.
Death Knight to stop the Alex attack and start regenerating all that life that they had lost.
What about the Burglary Bully and Spiker Steed? That's so hard to remove. They've used the Polymorph before. Their opponent, they had an opportunity to use it on Rag as well, and they just used Burn on Rag.
Tyrion.
Yeah, or Tyrion.
Yeah, I mean, you have checked pretty heavily for it. This is very risky.
They just used Burn. They used Firelance Portal and Frostbolt.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like this too,
I think I
dumping
like
the Wild
Steed better.
Pyromancer. They don't want to fill their hand too much with cards.
I think I like the Steed better because you've tested so heavily for the Polymorph, and also because now, if Virtus Pro just starts throwing damage at your face, you will have to play the Uther in this spot. But if they start throw damage at your face, you get coins. I don't know. I'm torn.
I actually kind of like this a little bit better. Save the coins because you most likely will set up for Uther anyways. I gotta say I haven't played too much Exodia Paladin. I've seen like a couple people stream it, like saying, yeah, it just was generally performing very poorly. But what is like the optimal setup there? Like how much mana does it take, and you know, like what's the combination there?
So 4 activations of the hero power is obviously 8 mana.
Right.
So you need to be able to play Beardo and 3 spells with that. What that means is that is now 11 mana to play Beardo and 4 activations. But in order to play multiple activations, you have to be able to play 3 spells. So that's 2 coins and a secret.
Well,
or like an equality,
3 coins.
for
Or 3
instance.
coins.
Yeah, or 3 coins. You have to have 3 spells to play afterwards.
Right.
And one of them literally has to be coined because you have to have the mana to activate for 11.
Yeah.
So this is an awkward situation for Virtus Pro, and I think that they're honed in on that idea, but how do they win if they throw away their burn? And then how do they win if they don't change the board presence right now? This is a multi-pronged attack from G2.
And how scared would you be if you're in G2 spot, seeing just a ping to the face with a pass and 4 cards being held? It's very clear they might be setting up for something. Do you go for Uther this turn?
There's no chance that I am not Uthering here. It takes you 20, and then the hit takes you to 25. Now, the question is, do you need to take the hit to 25, or can you expend the Sashbringer charge first?
I think you can get away with being at 20. 20 is like definitely a safe number against Mage, and you can get maximize your damage. Realistically, G2 might just kill without the combo and Auctionmaster Beardo. They might just win through board pressure. Let's go ahead and tune in and see what they're talking about.
I think it's okay-ish.
I think it's too greedy. We already have Rallying Blade. I will attack with the Wither's weapon.
Okay.
It's too greedy, man.
I think it's fine, yeah.
Just play Wither and attack with the weapon.
Yeah, it's fine.
Play a lot of cards.
Yeah, it's too greedy, guys, to attack with the Ashbringer. We have enough damage to proc them and do everything we want. Let's just play safe.
You draw, yeah, you play in the intellect.
Yeah, so we overdraw them and try them to
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can play Baron and Potion and
There must be a way.
if we draw that legit card, it's gonna loft badly. Let's just draw on the force of battle. Yeah, we want to withdraw them.
Like it's the only maybe.
With Volcanic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Volcanic. They didn't have the card in their hand because no, wait, they should have had it right in their deck, in their hand already. That legendary cards
probably.
were basically that.
Blessing of Kings, coin, hero power.
I don't think we use all buffs. I think it's bad.
But we want to use the coin.
Let's use the. Let's just use the
Throw away
blessing.
coins. I would say just throw away coins. Like Blessing of Kings, Hero Power, and throw away 2 coins.
Let's keep the steed and play blessing here. Maybe. We have.
Can't we just see the minion? The hero power?
No, I want to use it as
Like, we can steal the hero power and blessing the bully.
Kings is pretty good value here, to be honest.
Frostmourne.
Yeah, we kings the bully. And then we just like hero power, coin, steed. You don't like that? There's nothing wrong with stealing the hero power, there's no downside.
I'll hit first, see what it is. It's barrier. Sure, I'm down for that.
Do we want to hit with the weapon?
They already
Yes. Yeah, use with the weapon.
No, don't use it. They have out still.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine.
Double
I think
coin
it's
steed.
fine.
Yeah, double coin steed is fine.
It's fine to use the weapon.
It encourages us, doesn't encourage us to use it next time though.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to block the Jaina here that we can immediately.
Yeah, we can proc them, right?
True. I mean, we proc them anyway.
It doesn't matter too much. We have so many weapon charges.
12, it's 12 plus 5, 17. 17. Yeah, actually, yeah, attacking is good. Actually, it doesn't matter, it can't.
No, it really is. It really is low.
It matters because you don't really want to use the cons though. You want to keep the cons for...
Do not fear.
Yeah, now we can proc them.
Fear those who wield it.
So how do we do it? With the weapon?
We can proc them even without using the weapon.
I mean, with cons or with steed.
Yeah.
Like you can steed the bully, and then you put him at 4.
Isn't it too much commitment? And we
It's
can
kind of too much. I like the cons. You don't like the cons?
I think it's
Cons.
fine, but we have no activator for quality then. How it's relevant?
We can also just hit with the weapon. We have a rallying blade in hand. Hero power.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I definitely want a hero power.
And we can steal the hero power. I don't think they can go through this.
The end draws near.
Do whatever you feel like.
They cannot Alex us anyways.
Yeah, I think Steed is fine here on the new hero.
Sure.
You can even coin the weapon? No,
No, this is fine, this is fine. I want to keep 3 coins now. I don't know how this is gonna develop.
They have noble. We have noble suck too. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. That's really bad.
Why? Because they.
It doesn't do freaking anything, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it setups the kill on like 4-8 doesn't get frozen, so we can connect with it.
That's true.
That's actually better than pretty much anything else.
Time melts away.
Yeah,
But I don't know what they can do in this spot.
I mean, play another one. Ice Flock.
We'll probably use Meteor on Burgle Bully, and this way the middle one day with Tom.
Because I think they're gonna trade into the Alex now.
I'll trade with the middle one, I think. This way, if they don't trade with Bully, we can trade with it.
Okay.
I would like
The
to.
time is now.
It's probably get down anyway.
I must
Yeah.
decide.
So
Theoretically
that's the
alive.
frustration.
Practically not.
Alrighty.
Just cons to not show weapon.
Yeah.
Let's go. Nice. Cool deck. Awesome. Awesome.
G2 Esports strikes back against the Mage with a Exodia combo Paladin. That's something that I would not think to talk about at Trinity Series, but if there's a format that can support one-off weird deck counters like that, it is a best of 11 6-deck format.
That's one of the things I love about Trinity Series is that there are a lot of unique ways to counter decks that are problematic. And in this particular metagame with Knights of the Frozen Throne, we've seen the meta constantly evolve week throughout week, even in ladder meta. The way that priest decks are built, the way that Druid has started to shift back towards aggro Druid at times, the way that Rogue has emerged in the back half of the metagame. So much innovation is available in this particular standard, and I love that. Now, it's not guaranteed that it's an Exodia Paladin deck. They could just be literally using Burgley Bully as a value opportunity. It did unlock some plays there that would not have been possible otherwise. But the thing that's for me to note is that they built this deck to try and tackle a control mage, which is a fairly daunting task from a control paladin perspective.
Control Paladin does have some game against it, primarily as you guys saw through a lot of weapon pressure and Tyrion. But without that, if they draw the removal heavy side, they can just lose to straight up Alex Straza plays.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that window of opportunity to lose to mage that has a stabilization in the middle of the game and then a big Alex Straza turn afterwards. Part of the way that they can really change that dynamic, though, is knowing that there is not a freeze composition inside that mage deck. It doesn't rely on Doomsayers to clear boards in the middle of the game. It relies on burn spells to do it. And so if you can force those fireballs and force those Firelance portals onto minions, instead you end up in a situation where your opponent just doesn't have the burn to end after an Alex Straza. And that gives you the time to heal up.
My curiosity is how greedy did they go into it? You saw a couple of other cards that could end up punishing them. G2, of course, is who I'm talking about, if they end up facing a pressure-oriented deck. So, things like their Acolyte Pain, very bad for tempo, very good for card draw, but Paladin doesn't even have a guaranteed way to activate those Acolyte Pains compared to Mage, for example, which can use their hero power on their own minion to draw a card. So I'm curious to see how far down the rabbit hole did they go. Did they make this as an alternative win condition? You see some people throw it in as, in Control Warlock decks. Sometimes you can just have like a late game option like a Jiraxis or a Blood Reaver Gul'dan, and you still don't compromise your game plan playing Zoo Warlock. But that's very different from a Control Paladin that's very combo-oriented to set up this Auction Master Beetle. Did they just plant it in there, or do they have more early games to plant their position against pressure-oriented decks?
Well, it looked like Doomsayer was just about it. I mean, the rest of their options were Hydrologist and Stonehill Defender and Acolyte Pain.
Blessing of Kings is a very interesting choice in that deck, for example.
Yeah,
because
you do need to be able to punish still or take advantage of when you get a lead.
But that's not necessarily feeding directly into the natural combo of things.
That's right.
So it's it's very interesting for me.
To me, it looks like their plan against aggressive decks is to land a Doomsayer, play a threat. When it gets developed into, Blessing of Kings. That's a very tough plan to execute because A, it requires you to draw Doomsayer, and then B, it requires Doomsayer to live. And so one of the strongest counter options to this, I believe, is Virtus Pro's Shaman deck.
Yes, but that is something that has been debated back and forth. If you guys go back to Journey to Ungoro, Control Paladin actually had a lot of versatility into that deck, and a lot of people pick Shaman directly into the Paladin, but Control Paladin has so many board clears, it could end up being problematic for Shaman if they don't run away with the board early on. So let's go ahead and start the game off by tuning into the teams and their mulligan decisions.
We need this matchup, right? But unless we have to use it, we can just not use it.
But we never coin Doomsayer, right? Or do we? Flame Totem.
Depends what they do. If they play like, if they play the pirate, the 1/2 pirate, maybe. Because then it's like too much on the board. I don't know. They kept one card.
It's so nice to have Rallying Blade. It's so nice. All these annoying mana tide totems.
If it's not a card that they will play on first 2 turns, it's a mana tide 100%.
Yeah, we just pass here. It can be Flame Totem. I won't mind.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
still
keep-
fine if it's flame. We
Yeah,
should
we-
Doomsayer on 2 now.
We
Every time.
always pass this turn.
Yeah, we always pass into Doomsayer on 2, and you
It's
block
only-
their mana tide.
It's only bad if they roll Taunt Totem now and then Flame Taunt with patches.
Jade Claws though.
It's fine, I think.
Yeah, but Primal, yeah, it's just way better. You can
Just
play
generates
Might-
value.
Yeah. How many cards did they keep?
One.
That one.
Yeah, one probably
Can't
Doomsayer again. Oh,
I think if they play Doomsayer, we just devolve that.
Radio.
Yeah, just Doom.
Oh, that's so good.
The end is coming!
It's really good. It's really good. This. They have to devolve. It's the only way for them.
They can go
Or draw
Flame
patches. They can.
Flame Tongue patches, yeah.
That's a little nasty.
Or Flame Tongue Pirate. But if they play the Pirate, then we can weapon and we keep the weapon. And whenever we hit Pyro or Cons, we have removal.
I think they have mana tide for the most left card. What they
Yeah, or Flame Totem. I don't mind to keep Flame Totem here. As a Shaman in this matchup. They play something, people.
It's okay.
It's not really okay.
1/2.
G2 going to force out an early devolve, which is something that Virtus Pro understands about this matchup. You cannot let Paladin get enough mana crystals, essentially. Like, they will be able to win the board from you more often than not. So Virtus Pro just wants to snowball the early game board.
They have to kill the 1/1 too.
Yeah, throw the Blessing of Kings. It's a very real thing with Young Dragon Hawk.
They do have a Jade Claws, but I'm sorry, Jade Lightning.
The Golden Auction Master Beardo.
It's beautiful.
It's glamorous.
I don't
Why
know-
isn't he...
Hey, why is he golden? That's 3,200 dust.
Do you think that Auction Master... Well, because, come on, I mean... It's not even really fun if you don't play a Golden Auction Master Beardo. I was going to completely derail the conversation. But do you think, by any chance, there is a Golden Auction Master Beardo type card in Cobalts and Catacombs? Because he got a lot of treasure and gold behind him. Just saying, maybe he's the one running the Catacombs.
You speculate in ways that I very much enjoy.
G2 has a kind of an important decision of what they want to play between Accolade and Rallying Blade. Accolade's definitely the greedier option, but it has huge payoff if their opponent can't deal with it.
I mean, they need to find something to couple with the equality at this point.
Right.
And so I think drawing is their #1 priority. Even if this only gets one draw, that's still one draw deeper towards Consecration and towards Wild Pyromancer, so that they can try to snag control of this board again. Because right now, a Bloodlust is incredibly threatening to G2, and they need to find a way to stop that.
Yeah, realistically, I might see Auction Master Beardo just being played as a 3-mana 3/4.
And that's mostly what it's for in this matchup, is that it is just a spider tank at the end of the day. Because it's not good to try to combo your opponent in this particular matchup, because the way that you're going to win is by taking the board. If you take the board, that means you get repetitive damage.
This is kind of scary. If Virtus Pro has Bloodlust, let's tune in and see G2 and what they're talking about.
I think we should ignore maybe Bloodlust.
Bloodlust is always lethal, we have no way to play around it.
Like,
Even if
maybe
kill the 0/3.
Does it even matter? Maybe it's better to play bully.
Yeah, I'm on a coin bully here.
Same.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
0-3 doesn't do anything right here, almost.
Yeah, coin bully. They played one Bloodlust, that's just so they don't have it. Trali is also super annoying.
yeah, but equality, just gotta get a card for equality.
Yeah.
I guess they don't have Consecrate, right?
Yeah. And I also wanna keep chipping in damage.
Mm-hmm. And denying Doppelgang's Evolve doesn't matter because we don't have it.
Yep. And it's already turn 5.
Wait. I'm just thinking, do we really need to play the J class just to... Nah, it's 2 more damage. We
Yeah.
just forced... Yeah, to play the J class. Yeah, and trade the moves. So they didn't have the Pyromancer in their hand, right?
Do you play another 5-line?
No.
I would.
Why would you? No, I don't like it.
One more damage.
It's,
You need
it's
to
one more
do...
damage.
No.
Okay. I would
No.
just do it. It's 1 more damage.
I like one more damage.
Like, making them play around 1 more card doesn't matter. We have 2 cards now in our hand, but 1 more damage is... In 2 turns it's 2. Like, I think that's actually a big deal.
But...
You can equality that, but they will develop somehow again.
So my reasoning is, if we bully, we Pyro clear next turn before Bonma turn.
You also need to keep the Pyro equality for Double Gangster Evolve or for Troll. You just need to keep it. You cannot use it here. You have to play bully here.
I mean, we might have to Pyro equality next turn.
No. Yeah, maybe. But you cannot equality boards with... Oh my god. That's... Happens, guys. Don't worry. What's the right play? Don't worry. You don't play around the 1 in 22 year. You don't equality fireflies.
I'm not sure.
No, you don't.
have double
You don't.
evolve.
You don't.
Wow.
That stings.
That is a huge draw for Virtus Pro. Now, you heard Tice say it was a 1 in 20 some odd, but teams have been known to run 2 Bloodlusts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a read on Virtus Pro's deck list. For all we know, Virtus Pro could have 2 in it, but historically, they've ran 1. And Tice is absolutely correct in terms of, theory of Hearthstone. In that instance, they would have equality cleared, but let's say they drew one of their 2 evolves instead. They wouldn't have played it that turn, but then they would be defenseless against a Doppelgangster evolve, and then they kind of be in a similar position as they would before.
They're also just
losing
somewhat
the board.
defenseless to just like Doppelgangster.
Right.
But pretty much any reload there is going to be a problem if you don't clear. And Nyria's looking more towards the updated Shaman decks that have been emerging when he's talking about Bone Mare. Bone Mare was not found in the token Shaman decks early on, and it started to slowly rotate more towards that top end as people started to realize, hey, Bloodlust is not as impactful of a card because people pay so much attention to keeping the board clean.
Here's another thing, too. While we were watching the Shaman turns unfold, like, I know Primal Wolf and Totem, of course, in hindsight looks 100% correct, but that was even a debatable play on turn 2, whether they Totem, because G2 was even considering it too, like, oh, what if they just get a Taunt Totem, because if they play Primal Fin, they know that's threatened under, like, a Rallying Blade. And, of course, the Doomsayer got devolved as well, so there's a lot of those very early decisions that had a pretty big impact on how it's set up for that Bloodlust.
Yeah, and that's the reason that you play the Primal Fin Totem is so that you can get the payoff.
Right.
It's a fairly unimportant card, but typically with Shaman, you are trying to buy as much value as you can.
Yeah.
The difference there is that Virtus Pro felt they had enough time to either find an Evolve or a Thrall or something like it, if in the event it gets checked. And if it doesn't get checked, you end up in an advantageous position.
A little sad to see the Auctionmaster Beardo Exodia Paladin go down, but it did its job. It got a win. And that's at worst, that's what you really want to ask for a deck. Go 1 for 1. G2 and Virtus Pro are very close, neck and neck at 5 and 6. A win would put them in the top 4 for match wins and loss. And, of course, the game win-loss difference will only be if they tie with another team, which will evaluate game win-loss, head-to-head, and, of course, some other tiebreakers if necessary.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for the game win-loss score to be tied at this point. The match record, very easy to be tied, obviously. So G2 here just with a win, though, I believe is in that top 4, as we were talking about earlier. This is just such a big week for so many teams, as the matches are now, they're win and ins. Like, all their season's work has boiled down to this spot because the edge has just been so close amongst teams. They've been constantly innovating and working as hard as they can to find every little point that they can get in a matchup.
Yeah, the series is still early, so there's no decisive lead that's insurmountable. We'll see Tice stay, which means he probably is going to play the Control Warlock to shut down Shaman. That's a very good opportunity for them, especially if Shaman only has 1 Bloodlust. If their read is correct even, though. There's a possibility that Virtus Pro has double Bloodlust version, or some other cards perhaps that we're not expecting. It feels like G2 is definitely taking the big risks for the final week of Trinity Series, and Virtus Pro, they have their own twist that they've implemented throughout the entire season. For example, their mage list is very different than what you expect on ladder. Do we have any more surprises behind the Shaman door?
I am curious to see. I mean, Warlock is traditionally a fairly strong matchup if it is Control Warlock, and there you can see that it is, very much so. G2 has continued to include Shadowbolt. They have played much more anti-aggro versions of Control Warlock than most of the other teams that we've seen.
I like it, especially now that Mage is eliminated from it. Warlock is a little bit stronger.
And this was their intent in building a lineup, is when you build a lineup in the last Hero Standing match, the idea is to force your opponent onto certain archetypes and certain classes, eliminate those with a dedicated counter pick, and get to a point where eventually one of your decks breaks a serve. It takes 2 games in a row because your opponent does not have a viable check left.
Let's go ahead and tune in immediately for the mulligans and the discussions.
And
We can also keep Voidwalker and Ooze. Is Bolt really that good if you play for minions?
We have no other way dealing with mana tight. I actually think this is a good hand. Like, I don't know what I look more for.
yeah,
Besides
it's pretty much only like coils, defile. I don't know. That's pretty much it.
It's flexible, it's maybe a strange keep, but oh, that's nice.
Okay.
Let's go. It's a good end.
I mean, we just need to fight through early game, so, like, to have counterplay to their early game.
I feel very confident about this.
Same.
Do we want to have a further discussion?
No.
Wait, if you get the 0-2.
Well, if I get 0-2, it's obviously not good, but if it's healing, it's fine.
What if we just coin Flame turn?
No.
Okay, then just coin Hero Power.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, we could go to coin Jade Class and Lost and Prey, but for 1 drop. But it messes up our curve so bad.
No.
Job's done.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We tap here because
Wait.
every time, because they're not gonna do anything powerful next turn.
We tap, but wait. Tap it slower, because like if we...
It's so obvious.
No, but if we rope and tap, they might still think we're Zoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have a zoom mind. Sorry.
Zoo sometimes taps on 2 if they don't draw KLSF and they don't have double ones.
But we kept 3 cards.
Yeah, they could think that we keep Bloodsail and we're thinking about playing Bloodsail. But that's not good because we want them to play the weapon.
I don't think you should worry about those things, what they think and what they don't.
Leave it up to RDU to set up those mind games with the Zoo Warlock. Even if it just causes Virtus Pro to hesitate a little bit, it's worth doing because you get the time for free on your turn, so you might as well take up some real estate on their time as well.
I was listening to Amnesiac the other day on his stream, and he was talking about how he used to play a lot quicker than he does now. And he said when he started slowing down, he started noticing more success. He would just think about things more, he would sequence his turns better. And Soleil is very much a proponent of that as well. Like, I remember going into his big win at Star Ladder, he was told, just slow down and think about your turn for as long as you can. And he did that, and he won the event.
Well, I mean, if you really want to talk about roping, like, come on, we're casting a G2 match. Life Coach was the biggest proponent of roping for a long time, to the point where he even got nicknamed as Rope Coach.
Yeah, like, you know, this rope may be a little bit unnecessary, but they still have discussion going on about their future turns. They might as well just take their time and do it. So, yeah. You know, taking your time is an important facet in Hearthstone. You have a limited amount of time to think about stuff. You need to think about everything you can.
How important is this, by the way? It might seem like a small deal, considering that the Jade and the first damage swing was already used by the Jade Claws. The Gluttonous Zeus dominates the board and will either force out a Flame Tongue Totem or control the state of the board in time for the Twilight Drake to really do some heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think for Virtus Pro, the big deal is that they actually have 2 Think from Belows. So their totem up early was really important, because it means this Flame Tongue Totem unlocks Think from Below next turn. So everything for both teams is going on point right now.
Right.
So if that's the case, I think G2 has the advantage as long as they can break through this Think from Below.
Shaman needs to dominate the board. They can't just go even with Warlock because, well, Warlock has Life Tap and a bunch of AoE clears. This could turn out to be really bad, especially if they build up to that Abyssal Enforcer. Let's go ahead and tune into the teams once again and check in with how things are going.
Definitely think we go Shadow Bolt Drain Soul, kill the Flame Tongue.
And next turn, top.
You leave too many good plays up there, man. You leave so much good plays up for them. They just need a patches, and they can already kill our Drake with the Thing from Below.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They already can.
Yeah, but here, I mean, then you are at least rid of the Thing. But I think they have Thing from Below. Otherwise, you don't coin tap there, man.
It's really good against, but it's like bad against Empire. Think from Below is really bad against Tarnos plus Shadow Bolt, but that's like more Shadow Bolt.
Yeah, but I wanna play double Thing from Below on the same turn. Like,
is that ever gonna be a thing?
don't you think so? The next turn we can go. Okay, we can go Prime into Thing from Below if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, checking it is.
Why did you put it to the right?
Can you not?
To the left?
No, because I wasn't. Because I was thinking about the Primal Fin going to the left.
I think it's too greedy if you do it on the... How long can this go on? Yeah, there are no other plays. I mean, there is Drake, Voidwalker.
If you do it on how long this go on, let's stop first, see what we get.
No, it's like it.
Yeah, Shadowbot is great there. On the Flame Tongue. How long can this go on?
So, question, Honorable, would you consider Shadow Bolting the other Serenite Chain Gang body?
I think I like
instead
it.
of the Flame Tongue?
I think I like it. But I'm not really sure it's going to matter too much. You know, again, just Virtus Pro's going even on board. And you heard Naaman say that he wanted to play both Think Belows in the same turn. He knows they have to get ahead if they're going to win this game. And right now, playing on pace with that Think Below would not have accomplished that. It would have put them back in the exact same position.
Right.
So they're trying to invest their smaller resources to get to that double Think from Below turn. And I think that's wise, but G2 just has a lot to back this up. And I don't know if Virtus Pro's going to get there.
Yeah, double question is really hard for Warlock to answer with double responses. They have Siphon Soul, for example, but they can't really deal with both Things from Below outside of like a Defile play.
I was looking at the totems last turn, just sacrifice the Primal Fin and try to get to the big state, but something they're trying to prevent actively it also was Defile. So,
this is really good too, because this sets up for that double Think from Below turn next turn.
And they're trying to set the Primal Fin behind that to try to threaten, again, more Bloodlust and maybe the Flame Tongue lives, etc., etc.
Does play directly into a Despicable Dreadlord, though. Let's go ahead and tune into teams again and see if Virtus Pro can snowball this momentum, if at all.
Blow.
Yes, we just play our whole hand, like Hero Power.
Yes.
Yeah. We can't play around every single card.
Yeah.
You can play around Defile.
Oh,
Right.
Feeling Totem is good.
So we don't want to play Primal Fin over.
Yeah, you don't play the Primal Flame. I like it more. Yeah.
Yep.
I have no problem just like playing double thing from below.
Yeah, double usually blow.
Yep.
I wanna put both of them on the left. Do you agree, disagree?
I would probably put one to the right, but
What's the difference?
yeah, they clear the left. The left.
If
one.
you don't clear the flame, then we are happy.
Just if they siphon sold one of them.
Yeah, put both on the both on the left because next time we get if they don't have clear for the flame, then it's better with shade line. Yeah. And we want to trade away our totem, shade lightning something.
Abyssal?
No P7 with trade, right?
Sure. I mean, there is no reason to hold.
Yeah.
I don't see how to play. Like, if it like it's too greedy otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, drain stalling doesn't do enough.
Yeah, Blood Mage, Stone Heal, Drain Soul, and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
It's okay. The Enforcer is into a 5-2. We set up the drain soul.
Yeah.
It's not getting much better.
And they used to already end patches and 1 Jade Claws and
Double.
Flame Tones.
Double flame tongue, yeah.
I think they set up Trowel maybe.
I mean, they just have to now. They cannot hold anymore after or early game.
Okay.
G2 with the Abyssal Forza play, like we kind of foreshadowed, it's going to lock out most of the Shaman's ability to Bloodlust very easily. Verspro has two options. They can extend it to the board again with the Doppelgangster, try and just pressure through a Bloodlust victory as opposed to a Evolve victory. But by doing so, kind of plays very easily into a lot of things.
You're fearing Twisting Nether, you're fearing Hellfire, you're fearing Psycho Abyssal Forcer,
Right,
you're fearing
Defile.
There's so much that you're fearing in Virtus.pro's spot, but I don't think they have the liberty of holding any longer. I personally would have played the Primal Fin Totem here, just try to get as many minions on board as possible and rip the Bloodlust. However, if they play the Primal Fin, they are much more vulnerable to Defile. And that's the reason they're choosing the Totem here instead. I still expect the Doppelgangster to hit play.
So if 4 minions survive, 6 plus the 12 and Bloodlust is 18, that hypothetically is lethal.
Ooh, big draw.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. G2 not only has ways to defend themselves and heal, now they have ways to remove. And Mortal Coil can also come up really big with perhaps even
Abyssal.
another Mortal
Yeah,
take it.
everything's coming up G2 this game. And that's a lot of times how you expect this matchup to go. If G2 can go even, they are heavily favored. That's the reason this matchup's favorable.
I think you can get away with a life tap now. If you drain soul and trade, you can definitely life tap if you want to improve your hand.
Yeah, they need a life tap though.
They don't need to life tap at all. They can just get away with playing like Stone Defender or Farseer and then drain soul.
I think I like the Stonehill. I'm not entirely sure. I think I like the Stonehill just because it's not dying on board immediately.
What you can do is Farseer back the Abyssal Forcer.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Wow, that is...
No, it's good to make sure that Jade Lightning doesn't come to play. And double flame tongue, if you recall correctly.
It just gives you a good idea of how far ahead that they feel they are in this spot. They're like, what do we need this extra life for? Just keep the Abyssal Enforcer healthy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I love this play.
Verspro picks up a Devolve, and there is a world where Devolve can help them come back. But let's not talk about it. Go ahead and tune into the players' comps.
Don't you like the wolves then?
I think Devolve should be good.
Okay, if you just wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't.
Like I don't think Bloodlust is not the winning play.
I
Yeah,
want
just
to
Devolve.
Devolve.
Yeah, Devolve.
So you just lighting the 2-2?
And play Primal Fin.
Yeah, and play Primal Phone.
Wait a second. Okay, yeah.
Maybe not Primal Phone, maybe Hero Power is better since it could get down.
I don't think so. It's 2 minions on board.
Okay. That one?
Wow.
So they want to keep double Evolve as much as they can.
They don't have Evolve though.
Starve it, tap.
Start with tap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Get a Defile.
Easy.
Don't play that. We just go defender with
See what we get.
either with Drake or with defender mistress.
What did you get?
And 3-2 and 3-6.
Don't like 3-2 at all.
Fang Creeper, I think.
3-6, yeah.
I think Creeper seems fine. So now it's about, do we play Twilight Drake here or
I think
defender?
we go.
A little scared of Maelstrom maybe, but no. Can we not just drop the Drake here?
I like the Drake.
Drake is not getting better. Stonehill Defender gets more annoying.
So they can't kill us, right? No.
Put them on Bloodless Shade,
Drake
Lightning.
is better, yes.
They cannot kill us.
They can't, right? Bloodless.
No.
No. Like, I was considering Defile, Devolve Bloodlust. No.
I
Damage
guess
the totem?
yeah, I wanted. The face damage is irrelevant here. Nice Yeti.
Really?
Why not?
Isn't it better to just play hero power, chain gang, primal fin, and
Just say, dudes, you don't have anything.
right? But how does Bloodlust win? Bloodlust pushes 7 damage, they're down to 9. If they
Okay, I agree. Yeah.
like, if it's heal
Problem
totem,
is-
okay. If
The
it's heal
problem is,
totem,
like, we can't even totem.
I think we have to.
Well, do you want the totem or a 1-1? Our
I
board
don't
is
think
full
we
if
do
we
them.
play Primal Fin and Serena.
Okay,
If
yeah.
If they have the Death Knight there,
But they can remove 3 minions again. Now, Bloodlust is not really better, is it? I'm almost inclined to just Bloodlust.
And
Trade
thank you.
1.
Okay, yeah.
No, if we Bloodlust, we won't win. We win.
Yes, this is the way we're gonna win, dude.
Now, King.
I don't think this is the way they're going to win, Dan. I don't think anything they're going to do is the way they're going to win. Especially not
GG.
if Cool Man shows up.
And shadow.
Yeah, they're dead. They're not dead, but they're dead.
No, it is game over. No way First Party can find a way out of this one. And G2 doesn't even need to play anything. They can even hero power. So the whole argument of like, well, you can just see what cards they have. They can win just what they have on board. They have a Savannah Highmane off that Devolve.
I mean,
Now, granted, the Savannah Highmane hasn't even died. So if it was just a 6-3 normal vanilla minion, you know, like a Worgen Greaser, it would have been the same.
Worgen Greaser. I just forgot that was a card.
It's a 6-3.
Yeah, I'm picturing him in my head right now. Just every time he shows up in Arena, and I'm like, no text, huh? There you go. Virtus Pro going to scoop it up. And G2 maintains their position. It is now tied at 2 games apiece. But they're still looking to break serve. But if there's a deck that does that pretty well, gosh darn it, it's Warlock.
Warlock has overperformed significantly in this format when you ban Priest and Druid. Not only that, but also when you pick its time, Mage has been eliminated. One of the hardest classes for Warlock to deal with, at least this type of Warlock. And now that that's out of the way, what is going to be Virtus Pro's pick to decide to counter it? As right now, the best of 11, 4 games in, have become a best of 7. So when we come back, we're going to resume G2 versus Virtus Pro and find out what happens week 7 of Trinity Series Season 2.
You guys seeing this?
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Thank you very much, Intel, for supporting Trinity Series Season 2 as we continue on the final best of 11 for G2 and Virtus Pro of the regular season. As the winner of this will go on to the live finals in December 8th to 10th, live in the Intel Esports Arena in Burbank, California.
That's right. And $150,000 up for grabs at that live final. Not all to first, but still quite a bit to first.
A lot of pre-orders, Admirable.
I've already got mine.
Yes.
Yeah. I need those kobolds,
You're
Dan.
part of the problem.
Part of the... What does that mean? What does that even mean? Tied 2 games apiece with Virtus Pro on deck to select a counter to this Warlock. But things are a little bit thin for them in terms of just absolute counters to that matchup. I mean, they lost Mage, and Mage is a big hitter against that deck.
Well, they do have the Warrior available. Rogue is also a good candidate to strike back against the Warlock, but it's definitely not a hard counter. But Warrior can be if they're playing a removal-centric Warlock. And if I know Casey, he loves his fair share of N'Zoth Warrior. And N'Zoth Warrior is actually one of those decks that have a lot of resurgence halfway through the metagame. People really disagree a lot with a lot of variations on lists. You have people playing interesting packages on the top end. Like maybe you play Lich King, or maybe you play Quest Warrior instead and just completely pivot away from Death Rattle Warrior. I really like the list that Fibonacci tweeted out yesterday, where there's no Brawls, no Ravaging Ghouls, and you play King Mosh as a way to have big board AoE. And then because you end up, that allows you to play Scourge Lord Garrus very early, and you can leverage, because the problem with Brawl is that you don't really have good recovery off of it. At best, you have a Diehorn Matriarch, but you can play a 9/7, clear most of the board, and actually fight back very reasonably.
That's what I forgot in that Taunt Warrior list that I made.
King Mosh?
Yeah, I built a Taunt Warrior list that had Prince Keliseth and Fiery War Axe instead. It just aimed to fight super hard for board. I actually even included Bone Mares in it. The very first game I included Bone Mare, I went Alley Armorsmith and took coin Bone Mare. And that's it. That's a lot of stuff that you get.
It's cool. It's cool. And I mean,
I think Taunt Warrior is underexplored is my point.
It doesn't seem to be the case as we take a look at the mulligan screens. It is N'Zoth Warrior for Virtus Pro. At least it heavily leans towards that way. But one of the interesting things is being able to make the deck list more efficient. So when you have Whirlwinds in to combo with King Mosh instead of Ravaging Ghoul, all of a sudden it frees up your deck space to introduce a couple of other defensive tool options. Yeah. Like Bring It On, for example. That was also in the list, which is also a card that I think is pretty underrated right now. People don't really understand how to time it correctly. I think it's a very skill-testing card.
Very high IQ play.
Yeah. To be fair, it does require very high IQ to play N'Zoth
I'm not being a facetious when I say that.
The lines of play are extremely subtle.
It's very difficult to find the right situation to use the cards properly. I do like Virtus Pro hanging on to this Mountain Fire Armor in this matchup. Against an aggressive deck, I'm not hanging on to Mountain Fire Armor. In fact, I've concluded it's bad in aggressive matchups.
You can see that Casey has a solid grasp of hypogeometric distribution probability theory.
Indeed.
And without it, the effect will typically go over a player's head. So, looking at G2, they also have their own greed package too. The Elise, the Trailblazer.
That was me, by the way. That wasn't Magnus said that.
Yeah, great impression.
Thanks.
One more time for the fans.
Buy my beard.
That's money. Do you like Elise the Trailblazer in some of these Warlock lists?
Honestly, I'm so torn on this card because on the one hand, it's Elise the Trailblazer. It's just a 5-mana 5/5, but if you expect the game to go long, the pack it's potentially game breaking. What you can net off of it is oftentimes a big deal. I really want to visit the Mountain Fire Armor again and the importance of it in this matchup.
There's a huge amount of death rattles, which is definitely woven into the list. Deck building philosophy draws heavily from a lot of influences, and I think
some deck Raynad probably created and once thought and never actually built, and until like 2 weeks into the expansion.
Right, and fans understand this stuff because they have the intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these cards, to realize that they're not just game theory optimal; they say something deep about life.
Yeah, I mean, as a consequence, people who disrespect things like all of the death rattles in an N'Zoth deck, it's like they truly are idiots.
Yeah, of course they wouldn't appreciate, for instance, the meaning in death rattles and N'Zoth saying, what is he saying?
That's a great question.
There's too much epicness going on.
Yeah. Look at that shit. 6 extra armor. That's really the thing that Virtus Pro needs in a matchup like this. The extra life is a big deal because at some point they have to stand off against Blood Reaver Gul'dan. That extra life means the world to them at the end of the game. They have a potential to actually race Blood Reaver Gul'dan at that stage. That's the reason a lot of these slower pure form control decks don't work against Warlock is literally Blood Reaver Gul'dan. It's just that powerful. Suddenly that 6 extra armor, that's going to compound towards the later stages of the game. When that finally that Zoth hits, it forces more armor, and it forces more armor, etc., etc.
I mean, what Virtus Pro can effectively do, all memes aside, is just pass, because Warlock has to keep threatening with stuff, and they just keep removing it, and because Warlock will eventually want a life tap, they're just going to win through fatigue, and that's where the life count really matters.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I'm just smirking right now, imagining all the addle-pated simpletons scratching their heads in confusion as the genius unfolds itself on their television screens. Let's tune in and listen into Virtus Pro.
They didn't have Twilight Drake before, so you can also
Sheet slam this. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
What do we want? This rat. This rat might be also.
Isn't there a reason to like? What about?
Wait,
Do we dirty rat in the play in the card where we want to draw cards? Do we dirty rat now?
I would dirty red now if they.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are only afraid of 6/6, and we can kill
And then we sheet slam it.
Yeah.
Do we sheet slam the 5/5?
Yes.
It's nice that it's not the Stone Hill.
So just despicable.
Yeah, and pass, I think.
They go too aggressive on killing on board. They might run out of stuff.
Yeah, it's not going bad actually.
Is that our...
I mean, their deck can get really bad hands, or at some point just not have much anymore.
Yeah. They might have to like brawl the 2 minions and stuff. We don't use Uzan on this one.
Yeah, you wanna keep it for the Death Knight.
So we probably tap.
Tap, if nothing happens, like if we don't draw Twilight Drake, it's Stone Hill. Just Stone Hill.
Let's see what we draw.
Sagat?
Sagat is okay, right?
It's pretty good actually.
Yeah, it's good at 9.
Do you have Woodwalker?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we can't,
Yeah, I
like,
like
it,
it.
it only gets bad.
I wanna get so many draws of the
I would just like.
Dire one armor up is my plan.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do we trade into something?
No.
I would trade into the 1/4.
Maybe.
With the Death Rat?
Or would I? No, then they just trade into our Dire Horn. Yeah, we just pass, right?
Yeah, you just pass.
Yeah, just Dire Horn and pass.
One armor up.
Yeah.
You played this matchup so much, right?
Yeah, yes, we played this matchup so many times.
Yeah, the thing is, I only saw it from the Warlock perspective, though.
I saw it from the warrior perspective.
I mean, at least makes the matchup a little bit harder, but
We played exactly the same list, exactly this list.
It's like
Like
if
we
you don't
played
get,
12
like,
games.
to run this from Elise, you're like, yeah, whatever, dude.
And I even had to brawl Bunny's board on turn 6. Because I was on 12 HP on turn 7 or something.
But
and
they
I
drew a lot of cards every game. Like as soon as Casey started drawing enough cards, I like.
If they don't have a Ooze, I have enough card draw. I have card draw for days, and I still have a Whirlwind twice, and another Blood Racer. I'm not that worried about this game.
the demon is really awkward here.
I mean, Casey's speaking with so much intensity, his camera's quaking.
That's right. Earthquakes in Germany, apparently. But you can just tell how confident he is. And I think that kind of decisive conviction has been lacking in a lot of teams.
It really
Virtus
has.
Pro is in particular, too, because Dr. Hippie, you would also hear him in the past protest, but it always just be like, I don't like it at the very last second. And then, Casey says, this is the way I've played it. I've played this game. I've played this matchup hundreds of times, especially because he's a Zoth specialist. So he understands the value of not playing the Acolyte, for example, or making sure that if they do play Acolyte, setting up for the proper hand. Because right now, Dead Man's Hand does allow them to extend fatigue. And of course, we have to count for whether or not they have 1 or 2 Dead Man's Hand, or maybe they have 1 Dead Man's Hand plus another tech card.
Yeah, something that's else interesting to note is the dynamic of Casey has played from this perspective only, and Bunny Hopper's played from the Warlock's perspective only.
Yes.
And you heard Casey talking about it. He's like, I was down to like 12 HP or whatever going into his turn 7, and I still ended up winning the game. The fact that they're at 45 instead is speaking volumes about their position. Every single time that total goes up, they're building that advantage over G2, because eventually they run out of time to use the hero power from Blood Reaver Gul'dan enough.
Yeah.
So they have to find some pressure, they have to find Blood Reaver Gul'dan, and they have to do it before Virtus Pro establishes their offense.
I do. Oh my gosh, another big Stonehill defender pulling up big minions.
Hang on, how could there be 2 Sogoths in the world?
That's, I mean, like, all jokes aside, that's a really big deal.
I mean, there's only like 6 million people in Seattle.
Is there?
I don't know.
I'm fact checking here. Last time I was told that casters never lie on broadcast.
Yeah, Acolyte turn, of course, in order here, as Dan is preoccupied with fact checks.
I type very fast. Wait, what? Really? 700,000 people in Seattle?
No, there's way more than that. Seattle's a major US
Now,
city.
no, casters may lie, but Google certainly does not. That is not true. That can't be true. That's a census according to 2016. 2016 census in 2017. No, it's not right. Okay, no, it's 3,800,000 approximately.
So close. Let's listen to G2. They got about 6 million cards in hand. Let's hear how they want to take this turn.
First, not give too much away.
In the Acolyte first. No, this is the thing that is happening, right? Now the consideration is, do we play Direhorn Hedge twice? Acolyte hit it, Acolyte Bloodwaster hit it.
Acolyte
What do they do against double Direhorn?
Exactly, that's my question. What do they do against double Direhorn, and it sets up for next?
They will probably Siphon Soul, but they don't. The Wild Drake and Siphon Soul will be the worst one.
And then we do our turn.
Then you can go like Acolyte, Bloodraiser, and then Fishes.
Okay, yeah, like the Hatchling and double Direhorn.
If they play Nether, good luck.
Well, I mean, you just want to get rid of this Sogoth.
Yeah, we just don't want to take unnecessary damage. Don't.
Hellfire, is that something here?
Don't see it.
Yeah, but what's the play then?
Is Defile any good? Trade into 3-6 Defile.
No.
Don't get anywhere. I don't want to play Nether, so...
I mean, just to kill the 3-6 and set up the kill on the 6-9.
3-6, but...
So you wanna Defile and trade?
I think I want a Hellfire Twilight Drake.
Why
Trade it.
Hellfire?
Nah, it's also not good. I can go Hellfire.
Fishes.
You can go Defile Drake.
Defy Hellfire Drake.
I like Defile Drake more.
Defile Drake more.
And do we not tap?
No.
Okay.
We need to play tap, right? And also it's... Like this play doesn't play... plays around the fishes a bit more. Maybe.
You know what I like? Echo. How much mana do I have? It's 1 mana.
You don't have enough mana for that play. I know what play you're talking about. You want to Fishes this.
I don't want to Fishes this.
I don't want to Fishes as well. I want to shuffle Fishes.
No, I don't think we need to shuffle Fishes.
What kind of play do you like?
This is what I don't know.
Just let him go.
Maybe.
I mean, Acolyte and the weapon is okay.
we still have on Whirlwind.
And then let's see what we'll get.
What if we just trade in armor? Then they play their 6/6, then we play Acolyte, Weapon, and Execute.
Why don't we not play the weapon and acolyte right now? And farm the cycle cards.
I also want to take Battle Rage. Get it out. Because it's never going to draw more than 2.
Okay, yeah.
Bible Stamp. You were too slow.
No, I would not shield slam this.
He would have Whirlwind that hit with the weapon and killed this.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I would have. Would I?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Cycle a card with the Whirlwind.
We have 8 cards left in our deck.
Yeah, are you afraid of trying to?
No, I'm not afraid, but why should I take face damage at this point? I don't want to rush them down.
No, just because it leaves your Matriarch on more HP as well.
Doesn't matter.
Still dies.
Like it. Yeah, exactly.
Hellfire, sure.
Wow. It's like they're reading each other's minds on the previous turn. I want to... no, you don't have the mana for that. Oh, yeah, you're right. Like, what the heck? What's from this pack here? Let me
Evolving Spores is very interesting.
That's Exploring Goro, right?
Oh, is it Exploring Goro? If they get a Blood River Gold and Exploring Goro gives them real threats. Well, because the problem is a lot of the cards.
If they play Exploring Goro, how many Blood Reaver Goldens can they get? I'm not trying to be a joke there. I mean, think about it.
I mean, I know you're not trying to be a joke.
Like how many Warlock cards are there, and what's your odds to actually discover one?
Exploring Goro is 100 and is it discover a Core card or discover a card?
It's discover a card.
So there's
Warlock cards are weighted.
Hundreds and hundreds of cards.
Yeah, but the Warlock cards are weighted. And then also you could discover Lich King, you could discover...
but you also can discover Snowfipper Penguins.
Yeah, but...
And there's a lot more of those kinds of cards. I like Penguins a lot, trust me. I'm a big fan of March of the Penguins. Just it's
maybe
not going to help him out in this position.
I'm curious. That doesn't seem like an unreasonable play to use that.
You can also throw your rat and Shield Slam a threat. But little do they know there's no Sagas Slither coming out. Sagas is still really good here in this position.
This is a weird game now. Elise changes games. And this is the reason why I'm torn on Elise. It didn't do anything in the early stages of the game, but now suddenly they just have a lot of wacky cards.
Are they going to actually use this? Let's go ahead, tune in.
Oh man, I want to play it.
Like, let's see what they do first. We can adapt our Sogot and push.
Alright.
I don't know, I think we want to keep the adapt as a surprise card.
So we shuffle.
It's a decent card, yeah.
So we shuffle this.
And then you play the big dude.
Then we play this guy.
Yeah.
End the turn after you play the third. So we don't hit it. Yes.
They probably
Meteor is good.
Copy the DK.
Meteor Earthen Ray.
I think it's good, yeah.
Let's think.
Nah, it's always Meteor.
It's always Meteor, yeah.
I don't think you adapt here. 2 minions is fine. I don't think 5 is doing enough here.
Yeah, Restaurant is best here.
My eyes are open.
I mean, if they Zoff, we probably have to Nether, right?
So we just play the thought every single time.
Yes, yeah, just plains off. Like, it either doesn't have a Twisting Nether or it doesn't have a Spellbreaker.
Probably no Spellbreaker.
I mean, we haven't seen a Zea a lot, but that card's gonna be in there.
I think, yeah.
Hellfire. Hellfire, Zealot, Bite is pretty good. It's full clears.
Okay.
Wait, does it?
If you play Zod first only.
Now if you played second and then 3 there, then you trade Socket in there.
Oh, you want to trade Sogot into...
No, you don't.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you trade first here into the far right one,
It doesn't really matter, right? No. So you Hellfire for 4, and then now, yeah.
Yeah.
I see the line.
Okay,
Only a fool rejects the Lich King.
fine.
Do we play mixtures?
Nah.
Man, I want to explore Enduro. Gul'dan, help!
Okay, one more turn. Okay, this is the turn, next turn, and then we play with Squirrel and Goro.
Even if we don't do Gul'dan?
I mean... okay, is Gul'dan better than... Yeah, it's probably better. God damn it.
Nice.
Oh, they won too.
They're gonna brawl. They can't.
Have 2 more cards from this.
Yeah. So do we play another one?
Probably keep the second one for.
I want to keep the brawl for we still have
I would just shield slam that thing.
4-8.
Yeah.
Okay, like yeah, choose some. Choose some with heal power.
How do you like that?
Yeah, I
I like it. Can't play the someone cell.
Getting low on resources though.
So Mistress adapt?
Yeah, but don't... Ah, man, we kind of have to go with the Explore and Goro, man. Like, we're not gonna win with Gul'dan anymore.
I agree.
I think I have to Explore and Goro. And I just discover in Gul'dan, then on Jaina, then on whatever you guys want.
Okay, go for Explore Goro and Mistress Evolve.
Side effects.
Such a meme.
Let's see what we get.
+1/+1 win free. I think +1/+1.
Yeah, +1/+1. In theory,
Yeah.
doesn't do much. Ah, man.
There we go. Just get some Elises, pull more in our deck. I'm ready, guys.
You can get any card from the game.
Never gonna fatigue. We keep the Nether for the Nazat. I got this.
So how are we doing this?
No.
I think you can get damage and you can just pass this turn.
I mean, you could also play dirty, right? What is the Death Knight bringing back? He's replacing his card by.
So do we play dirty red, hit this in and armor? Huh? Oh, we take so much damage. This is stupid. We have.
This game just got wild.
This is insane.
G2 has played Explore and Goro that was given him through at least the Trailblazer pack. Now, we will go over some Explore and Goro mechanics. It is weighted towards the class, just like any Discover mechanic, and it does replace your entire deck, but it's definitely interesting to think about how the game can be extended. You know, they talk about, what if we just get another at least the Trailblazer? What if we get other cards that can help extend our fatigue life? What if we get multiple Death Knights?
What if they get a Lich King into Death Grip and Death Grip the N'Zoth?
Here we go. Choose your path. It's like, look, threats are okay because that Defiance Cleaner could have been another Mistress of Mixtures, for example, or it could have been something else just equally as useless, just like a Tainted Zealot.
It's just funny to look at here. I mean, I think you're supposed to Siphon Soul and start the push.
There's a lot of minions with Death Rattle in Virtus Pro's deck, it turns out. But I think you're right. Just pushing for tempo might be the right play.
Yeah, I mean, they're shredding the armor here with the Siphon Soul, and you're not giving up minions in order to do that. And Virtus Pro's clearly trying to save the brawl for the key turn. Now that Gul'dan is technically not in the deck, but also is, it's like Schrodinger's Blood Reaver Gul'dan at this point.
Yeah.
There is a lot of potential here for G2, and it's going to boil down to Discover cards, I think. They need to discover value-oriented cards.
I mean, I actually would rather have Jiraxis than Gul'dan every time in this position.
I think in this spot, I'm inclined to agree.
Oh, you can silence his own Mistress of Mixtures, which is kind of not actually what you want. I think you actually want the life and the extra damage.
Trade in. Do you trade in that to Ooze maybe? Leave the 6-2? They're worried about Sleep with the Fishes?
Yeah, they're playing around Sleep with the Fishes this way.
Wow, this game's gone full whack mode.
Yeah, that was a very counterintuitive trade, but it makes sense given that they haven't seen the Sleep of the Fishes. The Whirlwind's coming in here is very nice for Virtus Pro as well.
Full clear.
And again, the onus is on G2 to provide threats, but they have 5 more chances.
That's 2 executes in hand and a brawl.
I don't know. There's a lot of Goldshire Footmans in the world.
They are working against a pretty significant clock. But
Or
again,
all the Magma Rager bros. Oh man, I'm scared.
I'm not.
Leatherclad Hogleader would have been good the previous turn. Drakari Enchanter, is there any? No, they have nothing in their hand.
Take the Clutch Mother and look for discards.
You can't discover quests either, right? Because they have been removed from random generated
I believe
cards.
they have 3 executes on deck now.
Yeah, that's not what they want.
For Virtus Pro. So the next 3 threats are in theory checked. Can G2 discover any, like say maybe a Yogg-Saron?
The answer is yes. Can they discover any
like,
possible thing to save them?
Say they get like
yes.
a Yogg-Saron and the Yogg-Saron casts like a Dead Man's Hand or something. Like
that. This is going to be really exciting.
How
How funny? Okay, how funny would it be if it's like the only thing that they can choose is Hemet.
Missing Larry or something like that?
No, well, no, you can't. It's not in rotation. But Hemet the Jungle Hunter.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
which
Jungle
has to destroy
Hunter.
the rest of the deck. Oh gosh.
Chittering Tunneler.
Chittering Tunneler is interesting. I mean, life
Back in
is a
that minions.
resource. I don't think you want to take 10 damage, so I think I'm taking
I don't
Defile.
want any of these cards.
I think I'm taking Defile just because it's like they have an Azoth in their deck. And I'm probably going to Siphon Soul's Mountain Fire Armor. It's hard to say, though.
I don't know. I think you got to hold. There's still 6/9s left in the deck for Virtus Pro as well. And a full house with removal. Let's go ahead and listen to Virtus Pro. Let's hear how they want to use these removal cards to fight off against this Explorer.
You wanna will and execute?
I want to. Because if it
Yeah, I
dies,
don't mind double execute.
if it dies, we still have so the next draw. Sleep is the
Yeah,
Fisher
but
Shield
not-
Slam or
No,
die
yeah.
of Edging on the thought. So if this dies, our Shield Slam is active. If we draw 6/9, it trades on board, so it's only fishes that
Yeah,
is
I agree.
bad. So we have 6 good draws in our deck.
So many
Yeah, I like
choices.
just going phase, Whirlwind double execute.
Just this mountain fire armor is gonna kill them.
I have no one more execute left. Ah, they actually shuffled. Yeah, they have one more execute probably. Yeah.
Gul'dan? Chin?
Yes,
Come on.
I guess we discover.
Aww.
And
Beckoner.
Siphon is better.
Siphon and play it?
Yeah. But maybe we play it for our own one.
Yeah, play our own.
Yeah. Oh, is it better than Beckoner? Yeah, it is, right?
Of course it is.
Abilities.
Every minion matters, man.
You still have 2 chances to get the this single done, but
I know, yeah. Gul'dan at the bottom, man. Cabal Courier into Elise.
And Elise discovers Elise, and we go just infinite.
And rule is ash.
they just do it now, so they didn't shuffle this one.
No, they might shuffle.
They might have had.
Oh yeah, okay. No, but then it says made by Deadman's Hand. It doesn't matter.
We shall pack them.
Sacrificial Pact. Can it be anyhow that they get into a demon? No, right?
No.
Let's pick them.
Nothing else wins as the game.
But
What an Elder, man. It's 3 damage.
What
There
if
is
he's
no-
demon?
So
Shall they try if he's maybe a demon?
I don't think the Twilight Elder does anything.
Okay.
So you want to hope it's a bug over picking a minion.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's not.
Okay.
So just pass.
They might have Elise, guys, and then they go. I don't even know.
Yeah, we can get the least next turn.
What if somehow they will play Gul'dan in this game?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
no,
don't know. They play.
Gul'dan is not a demon.
Don't they play Cabal Career in that deck?
They don't. I like your optimism, they don't.
I think they play Cabal Career in their deck. And then they're gonna get...
Get Elise. Elise into Infinite Elise.
These are so bad.
Okay, just concede.
Yeah. You just concede.
Turns out there's more Gold Shower Footmints than not. G2 is going to concede, and the N'Zoth Warrior prevails. Casey has mapped the matchup from the very first turn, and all those reps really paying off. I think his experience and composure showed. Really understood everything and was able to map out a dead man's hand probability draw, which is like really impressive. That's what you really want to be able to do.
The other thing too is the lack of damage that was dealt from G2 early on really benefited Virtus Pro as the game came to the later stages. I mean, they started to wear down on life, but they had to get through, 60 armor first.
They actually took actual damage. They got to like 27 that game.
I mean, look how much damage was done.
Yeah.
That counts minions too, I believe, but that's a lot. That is heaps. Armor matters in these long control matchups. It allows you to sustain, take tempo turns, play for future turns of value. So much gets done if you can't pressure your opponent. And that's why Casey loves these control matchups. He knows that if he can build an armor total, he's got the advantage.
Yeah, and the one dead man's hand is all they need. This is exactly a good showcase of why you don't need two dead man's hand. People always talk about going infinite and getting an extreme value long term. Like, well, we could have infinite brawls and executes and always have multiple death knights and infinite N'Zoth. You don't really need it against most decks.
You just need enough.
It's just that one copy of Dead Man's Hand is enough to extend the game long enough for you to have a value over time with just your deck.
Yep. Enough is often the one thing I think is missing from a lot of people's games who like to experiment with decks. Your deck doesn't need to do everything, it just needs to do enough. I mean, ideally, you use all your cards, all your mana, and deal them exact damage. Now, that's obviously not always possible. So the key there is trimming your deck until you have just enough left that you're finding the edge in your matchups.
Yeah. And now we're saying enough so much to the point where it sounds a lot like N'Zoth or whatever. The words are starting to blend together. G2 has to answer this warrior. They have Mage, Warrior, and Shaman themselves. Shaman can be susceptible. Mage actually can also be pretty susceptible to the Warrior, but if they play a tempo-oriented version, it can be pretty good. There's also this weird thing about like maybe he's playing Quest Mage, and that it's an opportunity to counter these heavy counter decks too.
They did see a lot of dirty rats though.
Right, and then what warrior do they have? For example, do they have a Quest Warrior themselves, or do they have their own Death Rattle Warrior, or maybe they went the next level deeper and had Fatigue Warrior, which is actually a deck that can counter only one Dead Man's Hand copy N'Zoth Warrior.
Yeah, and that being said, it is still somewhat difficult. You do have to get through 2 N'Zoths. But if you use your resources correctly, you can do that.
I have infinite brawls. Win. It's like one of those theoretical Hearthstones. Like, okay, what do you do on turn 1? It's like, well, I do this, and eventually, if you play it out enough to the point and you pick your optimal hand, then hypothetically, Fatigue Warrior beats everything because it just never loses fatigue. It removes literally everything that you play and has infinite life, which means just unkillable.
Right, but that requires a lot of things to go right.
Yes.
And Hearthstone is a game where you are forced to adapt to circumstances because sometimes luck isn't always on your side.
Right, yeah, but if you play game theory optimal, you can get there.
Sometimes.
Yes.
50% of the time is technically game theory optimal.
Virtus Pro, Casey doing a really good job there, and Naaman also has also been still contributing. I know we mentioned at the beginning of the show that he was absent. That's not true. And now we get to see what Virtus Pro can really do is the grip is tightening. Like every single trade favors Virtus Pro in this position because then they get to have the final say. And they also have very different decks, right? The decks that remain for G2 have actually been eliminated from Virtus Pro.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think that G2's plan was to try to force Virtus Pro into this style of position that G2 is in right now, but they lost game number 1. And that game 1 is setting the precedent in a lot of these matchups. How you build your lineup and how you want to come back from that 1-0 deficit is a big deal. If you want my opinion on it, I think the teams that have been going down 2 games have been seeing the absolute highest loss rates. Going down 1 game has not really, in my opinion, been a huge indicator of that, though.
Yeah.
It really comes down to how you force your opponent's lineup to unfold to get that last deck that doesn't have a strong check to it.
Well, traditionally, the way Last Year Standing works is that you, for game theory optimal lineups, you have 2 decks to cover a bad matchup. And when you lose both of those, that's when the dam breaks and the water, you can't really stop the flood anymore of the pressure. And that's when you see when a deck wins 2 or 3 games, it can just sweep from that point on.
Yeah.
And that also applies to just normal last hero standing too. We're playing 6-deck format, a very complicated web of potential counters and whatnot.
I mean, so we've seen 5 different wins in 5 different classes.
I do want to ask you about G2's emphasis on we need to actually play Explore and Grow a lot earlier, because they ended up picking up a lot of cards that didn't have good application, like Mixtures of Mixtures, Tainted Zealot, a Farseer, which
I would have played it right away, personally.
It felt like logical to see if they can get Gul'dan maybe 1 or 2 draws in, but did they have enough time? Did it even matter? Because in the end, it's not like they died of fatigue. They played their 30th card and they lost anyways.
Wow, it is Quest Mage. And
That's
this is something that Virtus Pro I don't think can read into super well. You know, I wouldn't expect them to keep Dirty Rats in this matchup, and keeping them out in Fire Armor is something I would certainly expect them to do.
Right.
But now they don't have Dirty Rat on Virtus Pro side.
Yeah.
That is an opportunity for G2 to start this card draw train.
And here's another thing too with G2 as they pick up Battling Book. They can
seal it.
They can hide the quest for a while. Okay, they just straight up play it. Casey looks up to the sky, recognizing that that's not what he wants to see. But you mentioned Dirty Rat can be a big MVP, but G2 also knows about the Dirty Rat, so they can hold cards to protect themselves from that.
Right. I mean, maybe you hold Novice Engineer, maybe you hold Babbling Book to get to that point and lower that impact. The other thing, too, is you can beat Dirty Rat even if it pulls, like Sorcerer's Apprentice, for instance.
Yes.
With Simulacrum. You just need to set up the Simulacrums in the right spot. And that's a difficult task and to do, because first you have to draw Sorcerer's Apprentice, it has to be be Dirty Ratted, and you have to set up for the Simulacrum at that point. So this is a lot of work that G2 has to do to play around that, and a lot of work Virtus Pro has to do to find Dirty Rat.
All right, let's tune into the teams and see how they're going to navigate these early turns.
Or just block.
You can also Novice and hit.
Is it good? Oh, yes.
They get 2 cards anyways.
Yeah, I think we need to cycle already.
You like my invention?
It's not good.
Is it 1-1?
And then play Mountain Fire, right?
Yeah.
Or do we slam? No.
No.
We want the slam for card draw. Oh, they have Mage. I knew it.
Strange.
It's a pretty awful hand.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh god, guys.
Just block. Do you even ping them?
Yeah.
Why not?
Let Archaeologist, Novice Engineer, and open the way gate.
No. It was a secret. It wasn't the secret from Archaeologist. They have one more secret in the deck.
Yeah.
Isn't it that card that they drew in turn 2?
Book at this point, maybe?
They drew one.
Maybe you book to just try something, but I think the best play against the rats is just keeping everything you have. And then maybe you get lucky and they pull the minions. Because we have 2 Simulacrums.
Okay. Okay.
So
Sure.
do we pin the minion?
Yeah. You kind of want to kill it maybe at some point.
The chance we book into Tome or something is super low.
The things they can't kill Antonidas, can they?
Delay audio. Wait. Reaction. We might get it here. If they don't play it here, we'll come back, I think.
I ain't talking. Someday I'll be just like you.
Unlucky.
Well,
At least they played the rat before the Deadman's Hand, so now they can only do
Yeah, not much.
it's
not much
okay.
more.
It's okay that it's one apprentice at least.
It's okay until they pull our second apprentice.
Man, quite the awful draw here for G2. It has led to some awkward situations. They haven't got the quest started. They have no card draw. They have ways to stall, though. Frost Nova Doomsayer is a powerful combination. That one Dirty Rat's been played. That's what they've been setting up for. They purposely did not play a Babbling Book for a long time in order to avoid Dirty Rat pulling some of their crucial minions. Pulled one anyways, but the most important card to protect is the Archmage Antonidas.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, though, if they did end up pulling the Archmage, Virtus Pro, oh, they had double slam, never mind, and sleep with fishes. But like, it was one of those funny things where sometimes if you play Dirty Rat too early, and they have like Archmage Antonidas and you can't kill it, and you can't kill it, that can also be a problem.
Yeah, and you heard G2 mention that they had 2 simulacrums, but now the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Archmage are both
equally valuable.
Yeah, they're equally vital at this point. Yeah. So Virtus Pro's game plan is to literally find the second Dirty Rat as fast as they can, and hope that they nail it.
Slam your own Acolyte, perhaps, just to draw more?
I am absolutely slamming my own Acolyte, and the reason they're paying attention to their armor total is because as one of the Sorcerer's Apprentices gone, there's a chance that G2 has to go for a semi-combo with the Archmage Antonidas and Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Semi-combo? It's very much a real combo.
Well, you don't go full all-in sometimes with the Archmage Antonidas, so it prevents you from your opponent having 3 Sorcerer's Apprentices and being able to kill you on the following turn.
Right, you can deal 27 damage with 3 Sorcerer's Apprentice with 9, and then 3 Fireballs, which is 18. Yeah. So that is a sweet spot for most of those. A couple of stragglers might end up adding more damage, but that's the general ratios. Would you even consider attacking into an Ice Barrier?
Well, that's a good question. I think that Virtus Pro can pressure them down before they fatigue them. And so there's 2 schools of thought. Number 1 is leave the Ice Barrier there, so if G2 finds enough random effects, they can't actually activate with a random Ice Barrier they find. Right. The other one is that you want to pressure them down. And since they're thumbing over this Scourge Lord Garrosh, I'm guessing that pressure them down is the plan they're looking at.
Well, they have N'Zoth in the hand, so might be reasonable. 12 damage with the Shadow Morn, and then whatever the Dire Horns get summoned back and Mountain Fire Armor.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, even if you just got a Mountain Fire, the N'Zoth is worth it to play because you're not playing for infinite, you're playing to pressure. That requires the investment at this point, though. So it leaves them more vulnerable to Dirty Rat in a weird way, but at the same time, they need to find a way to start cranking out towards this quest progress.
Here's the problem, too, is that Doomsayer and Sorcerer's Apprentice cost the same mana, and Simulacrum, if given a tie, chooses randomly. Let's tune into G2 and see what they're going to do.
Okay, sure.
We have 1 in 3 chance to win the game. 2 in 3 chance to win the game, basically.
Yeah.
They go red.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, help us, Book. Help us.
Another Simulacrum.
It's okay, yeah, I guess you don't use it here.
Should I have a pin now on Book?
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, but I don't know if it helps.
I know. I don't think it matters.
Good Blood Rage, draw a lot of cards to get the Death Rat.
So how do we do this? Do we slam?
Also block. Oh, okay, you can slam, yeah.
So we start with slam. Okay, then we block.
Yes, block.
Then we Dirty Rat.
Yes. Dude. Come on, dude, Antonidas.
That's also
And then you
Okay.
hit
Yeah,
your
that's good.
right?
hit the Doomsayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just do a Whirlwind.
I don't mind
reason to Whirlwind.
Whirlwind.
Nah, actually.
It
Pushes
pushes.
1 damage.
Yeah, dude.
And we gain
1 damage.
2 armor.
And right now they have 3 Thorks left. Only if they RNG more stuff. Otherwise, we can out-armor them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Polymorph
Yeah.
is nice, so yeah, I guess.
Maybe we should play Secret. Nah, it doesn't matter.
No, just flame.
Yeah, Polymorph can be nice.
Now we just have to draw our cards.
Yeah, it's fine. Nice.
So we probably polymorph 3/6 or what? Or polymorph the 5/7.
Start with Glyph.
Polymorph, Glyph, Cone of Cold.
I kind of want a Cone of Cold.
Same.
I guess pin doesn't matter, right?
No. Just
No, it matters. It matters.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, another Glyph.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, nice. That's how we want to do it.
Cone of Cold.
And now you can use you can just polymorph the 3/6 even, and then ping the 1/1, and then call an Armorsmith.
Do we wanna
I like 4-mana Cone of Cold maybe and polymorph.
Which one do we polymorph? That's the thing.
I would polymorph the 3/6.
3/6.
And then ping the 1/1, and then call an
I'm not
Armorsmith.
sure how big the reach is, if it's gonna be scary, if you're gonna get popped or not.
I think so. It's better.
I think we have too many freezes and too much card draw. We should get to the combo before they can do anything. Their best chance was going for 4 rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they cannot know that we might like play such a greedy version.
Come on, man. We have so much card draw left.
Yeah.
So Virtus Pro plays our second Dirty Rat before Dead Man's Hand arrives, so they are out of the Dirty Rats as far as we know.
It is now officially a race
Yes.
where they're trying to pressure down G2 prior to them assembling the actual Exodia
Right.
of 4 Sorcerer's Apprentice and Archmage.
And the greed that G2 has with W Simulacrum actually does help them, because now they have 1 more Simulacrum and 2 Molten Reflections, which is enough for Infinite Fireballs. So looks like everything's been cleared on G2's end. Now they just have to get the card draw in time, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And Casey's considered tossing in his Dead Man's Hand.
That is if they run the double Molten Reflection. I mean, some versions actually prefer the Simulacrums over the Reflections so that you can set up for it later down the road. It's turns where you have dead mana, it unlocks it a little bit earlier when you can just invest mana into it and then jam it down in 1 turn.
There is this also other weird world where Warrior has too much life for G2 to Fireball down in 1 turn. And I have seen it happen before on Dog Stream.
I mean, it is a
Oh,
lot of
man.
armor. It's like hundreds of armor. It's almost 300 armor. It can happen.
No, I feel like it's less than that.
The key to it, to playing against it, is that you need to have Archmage chaining with a spell and then a second spell, so that way the fireball animations of it going back to your hand is actually faster. It's a really weird interaction.
And if there's one thing that I wish Virtus Pro did, was I wish they somehow got more threats into their deck, because right now they're so threat light. Can you blame them? They're trying to play N'Zoth for tempo and pressure their opponents, but then they drew Dead Man's Hand the next turn.
You know, that is an interesting idea. If G2 just stops drawing cards, but somehow they can kill all threats from Virtus Pro,
They just win on fatigue. I don't know if they can take enough damage.
Really tough.
I don't think they can. I don't think it has enough they can do with that. Unfortunately,
They'd have to draw a lot of cards, and there's a lot of stuff they'd have to kill.
I mean, G2 only has to pick up Molten Reflections, and they have the damage. You just have to keep stalling. And with Cone of Cold Blizzard, they should be able to withstand enough pressure. Just paying some of the minions off. What is Virtus Pro going to do?
Wow.
Shield slam their own minions? Ooh, Armorsmith's really nice. I mean, I consider some life gain in this position. Let's go ahead and tune into VP.
I guess, yeah.
Wait, Armsit and then Battle Reach.
Yeah, I don't think
So
it's
you don't
Battle
wanna
Reach even.
Can be overthrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do we position this?
I mean, we need to rush them down. So we need to get the Diaforms out.
The head slings, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you wanna drop?
How about how about shield slamming the 3/3 and then using the Battle Rage 2 cards?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So you shield slam
Also
this
bring us closer to big minions, yes.
counter spell. So I just Battle Rage now, right?
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Tracy, yes, it did. Shield slam the.
Okay, that's okay. No.
Okay.
I think he
play.
just played Direhorn.
Yeah, play to the
And I
left.
hit him.
Yes.
I just positioned it between the Armorsmith.
I mean, we can get to the
I
point where we
rolled
get a
out,
lot of armor.
I rolled out.
Get infinite armor so they can't even move.
Yeah.
Like it was
Should
just too long.
calculus.
That would be pretty funny. They always draw their deck. Can't proc them early enough.
So we shield block.
Yeah, shield block.
Get more big minions.
nice.
Do we also whirlwind?
No,
I don't think so.
they have to kill it themselves. This
I mean,
way they
it's
can
got
kill
to be
them.
card. Okay, that's fine.
Finally, we got something.
Oh, we have drawn the deck, guys.
Oh wow, more draw.
More draw.
Wait. I think so.
You can do it next turn.
Yeah, it is lethal.
Okay.
It's
4, 7.
Yeah, it's exactly lethal.
Yeah.
Should I go for it? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Someday I'll be
Okay,
just like
I'm gonna be
you.
silenced now.
Me too.
I'll be just like you.
Play 20 first.
Okay. So, let's go.
You require my assistance?
Okay, not miss motor reflection and I just go.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Why it's so slow?
It's on America. There might be ping.
I guess.
You have to
You
cast
was
12. You have to cast 12.
Not be spared the wrath of
I mean, I'm pretty fast right now. Like, I'm clicking is as soon as it appears.
Yeah. Never had
Okay,
through already. I still see 30 armor, bro. Like, he's still at 60.
Yeah. They're dead.
He's still at 60, am I?
Neria is way too fast.
Yeah. Easy.
Haha.
Girls hate him.
Oh my god, are you? I'm only fast when it's necessary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one. They just threw it by not playing the 4 dirty rats.
They didn't throw it.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They did.
We had an even horrible hand, so.
Okay, so now let's cheese Agro decks.
What's left for them? Paladin, no,
Paladin, Rogue, and Warlock. So the
All right, well, G2 able to tie up the series, and they say Hearthstone doesn't take any APM mechanics. Look at that. He was actually doing something pretty clever, which was playing other spells that weren't Fireball to get multiple Fireballs to queue up at the same time.
Yeah.
If you're just waiting for each individual Fireball to go to your hand, the animation length will take some time. So he gets a couple of Fireballs, so he can always constant queue them.
Yeah. The animation on your screen of the Antonidas giving you fireballs generates a lot faster than the other fireballs resolving. It's like shortcutting it almost. So squeezing in those extra fireballs is how you beat those gigantic armor totals. Like even if there was like 150 armor stacked on there, they still get there if they have the second fireball to cast. That's really the key animation timing of that.
Yeah,
Really
so
weird.
G2, I guess you're right, Admirable. It takes hundreds and hundreds of life because they were already in the 80s, and I was already like, that's a lot. I mean, I think being 150 still probably isn't enough, but when you start hitting 200, it feels like maybe that's too much life to
You got to
get
be
through.
quick still.
Yeah, hard to say.
I did like the play of the 2 Sorcerer's Apprentice and then the Time Warp with 7 mana left. And then
Yeah.
they played the Archmage, a 2 mana Molten Reflection, which makes the next one 1 mana, which makes their fireballs 0 cost. That was actually really important for them to nail that. To put them outside of range of,
Was it, though?
say there's like a Stone Hill into a Dirty Rat or something weird. Like, there's still something that can happen because they don't know the entire deck list.
Don't give them a chance if there isn't, if there is
Exactly.
one, you know? And just, you know, and they would have effectively missed lethal at that point.
Yep. And so as we go into this game, Virtus Pro, of course, queues up one of the strongest decks against Quest Mage.
Yeah.
With aggro Rogue. This deck
Right.
starts pouring on damage really quick and puts the test to G2 early on.
Yeah, to the point where a lot of people just don't really play Quest Mage at all because of how much pressure it gets put on.
Yeah.
You can see that they don't even keep Arcane Intellect. That is a card that Quest Mage really cares about. They do end up keeping the Quest. That is something that you can always debate about, whether or not you want to play just a removal-centric Mage, or if you want to...
I'm the Quest Mage now.
or if you want to finish the Quest. Would you keep the Quest? definitely, I think, something you can evaluate.
I think you do have to keep it, and the reason why is because you're just not winning the game through like a pure value mode. You do have to somewhat cheese your opponents and just assemble the right pieces in time. This really is a race to can G2 live long enough to complete this quest. It's a difficult uphill battle, but it's possible. The thing to note is that they're not going to be playing quest on turn 1, and this is actually somewhat troublesome for them. Because they need to fight for board with the Babbling Book, but at the same time, they need to be able to squeeze in every point of mana dedicated to removing minions, or the pressure just compounds.
They don't have to play the quest until they want to play the coin or flame strike.
Yeah, one of the key things to that though is it's difficult to weave in the quest in this matchup. You're spending all of your mana almost every turn.
Yeah, well, Arcanologist is a really good thought as well, and you know, don't even sleep on things like Molten Reflection. I've seen that being used on like a Doomsayer to try to see if they can secure the board.
This is brutal from Virtus Pro. South Sea Captain adds immediate damage. They get to kill off the Arcanologist.
Yeah.
G2's in trouble.
Trying to think of a world where you just play the Fireflies instead. I don't think there is. South Sea Captain is just too much immediate pressure.
A lot of times, Frostbolt has been cut from quest mage lists, especially in Trinity series, where their goal is to pick off a specific deck. So here, Virtus Pro is, I think, free to take any of that risk whatsoever, and now G2 is the ones who have to answer this back.
Yeah, this hand sucks, right?
Barrier doesn't do anything anyway. Okay. They'll probably wait gate barrier.
You have the time to wait this much?
I mean,
I guess.
Yeah, sure. Of course. If they don't develop much now, it's fine. Like, as long as we keep ourselves around, like, 12-ish HP, they can't really proc us, unless they, like, Leroy, Shadow Step Leroy or something. But it's fine, if they proc us it late. It's not fine, but it's super unlikely they'll have this. I mean, we could do Leaf and try to search for Volcanic Potion.
I wouldn't, because then we can never play the barrier.
Yeah. We could coin barrier, but it's nah.
I wouldn't want to use the coin, because next time if we draw Nova, we can go Doomsayer Nova into coin Flame Strike.
So, you think the barrier plus the open away gate is the way to go?
It's a bit slow.
You stay at same dive.
But I think it's fine.
I think it's fine too.
I think it's fine too.
I also want the quest in play before the coin, because with double sorceresses we might have a chance to kill them actually.
The thing is, we also can get the freeze, the wizard, and we can play boost coin.
We need to get something though. If we get something good here, we have a chance.
Yeah.
With 2 blocks in hand especially.
Can be annoying.
So no Scalebane.
G2's under heavy pressure, and they're trying to find a way to map themselves out of this, but Virtus Pro just kind of doing whatever else they need to do. I like the Cabal's Tome and not overextending to the board. They have damage from the hand, Frostbind Slayers to answer the Doomsayer.
Turn of Truth is upon us. Frost Nova gets drawn, and this is exactly how RDU wanted this to pan out. Frost Nova Doomsayer, it gets Vile Spine, and then they go into the Flame Strike to clear the board.
Yes.
Will that give them enough time? Wow.
I can't believe it.
Absolutely key pickup.
Doomsayer throws all the hits. Oh! Every bit of life matters. Coin Flame Strike will set up, let's see, Virtus Pro with Leroy, Cold Blood, Frostbolt's not enough mana. They don't have enough mana to do that. They can't pop. They have 14 damage if they were given 8 mana.
G2's got to get an ice block down too, though, so still some hope.
Oh, you're right.
For G2, but Virtus Pro, big edge. Let's listen to G2.
Quest. Couple is going to get us.
Do we need second Apprentice or not, you think?
We need the more apprentices
you
we
need
have,
four.
the better.
You need 4
yeah.
apprentices.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, I mean, like throwing, yeah.
3 might be enough if they don't play taunt. It's 27 exactly.
It's 3 plus Tony, though.
Leroy code
And then we pop them at 1. Yeah.
They need to play around the secret, so yeah, that's good.
And we have. So.
Okay, let me think.
Shoppy Ice Block.
Does counter spell or what?
To do? What
I think we just call light.
I think we just call it E2.
Okay, sure.
If it's counter spell, let it be, I guess. We could Gleef.
I like Gleef.
Risk it?
How big of a risk is it?
They can kill us.
But if you go block and they proc us, it's not that great either.
I guess we never win this way. Frostbolt? Alright. I guess Frostbolt is better.
And play Doomsayer, right? Yeah.
Spell Doomsayer. You also get the spell. Maybe. What if it's Ice Block then? Oh man.
What if it's Entity?
I was already
Then you
popped.
should have Doomsayer first. But
Virtus.pro is going to end this game. There's no ice block up. G2 had a way to block it, and they said that they don't really win this way. However, I think one of the things about Quest Mage is understanding how many turns that you can really buy. And G2 definitely had ways to really drag out that game. Every mana crystal is extremely valuable because they had double Molten with a Sorcerer's Apprentice. And say they pick up another Sorcerer's Apprentice, they have ways to utilize even just a quest as an extra turn, and then they could utilize that to get extra burn and maybe end the game through traditional mage methods. So a lot of questions of what ifs there. Even though Virtus.pro gets the win, there was a lot more game to be played in my opinion.
I think that you absolutely are supposed to play Ice Block in that scenario. Because all you're trying to do is look for the Hail Mary at that point.
Right.
You have, like you said, you have 2 Molten Reflections. You have the quest set up. You're making progress, and they have Primordial Glyph. On the last turn they possibly have, they could just jam down Sorcerer's Apprentices, look to Hail Mary with Glyph, Kabbalist Tome, whatever it's going to be, activate Time Warp, and then hope you draw Archmage Antonidas on the final turn. You can draw a ton of cards with this deck once you actually use Time Warp and you have 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices in play. So I think absolutely they're supposed to Ice Block in that scenario and buy extra time.
Well, because the thing is, they had, because the Sorcerer's Apprentice also deal damage themselves. So if they have 1 ice block up, say that ice block gets popped, they not only make up that mana loss from Primordial Glyph because it'll be free with the Sorcerer's discount, but they'll also be able to generate 9 damage from the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And say the Kabbalist Tome picks up other cards like Pyroblast, Fireballs, Firelands Portal, Frostbolts, you have a second ice block in hand to guarantee yourself the turns to play that. And not to even discount the fact that Archmage Antonidas might come to your hand to give you extra Fireballs. And that's the out. However, there was, 13 cards remaining in the Mage deck? There's a lot of ways for them to whiff.
I agree with that.
So I can understand that they're saying we don't feel like we win the best this way, but I feel like they don't have enough time to analyze the percentages, and I feel like they actually had a higher chance if they just played Ice Block.
The thing for me is they're not going to win through board control. So what's the Glyph trying to accomplish?
Well, the Glyph I think is because maybe they felt like the best opportunity for them was to play Doomsayer there to stall, because if they don't have Leroy, then they Bone Mare trade into the Doomsayer. And then that gives them an extra turn. So basically, they were being greedy and saying that we have to play as if they don't have Leroy and Burn to finish us off, which is very optimistic
But if your
at turn
opponent doesn't
8.
have Leroy and Burn, then you get to develop an Ice Block, and they don't pop your Ice Block.
Right.
So then you have free turns to just chain whatever you want together.
No,
they
that's
pop
what
your
they're
Ice Block,
going
you
for.
have another
They're
Ice
going for
Block.
the greed play.
But if you play the Ice Block and your opponent doesn't have Leroy, they don't pop your block anyway. If you play Ice Block and they have Leroy, you now buy an extra turn. I think there's no way you Glyph.
There's two ways to look at it. You either Hail Mary through the Ice Block and try to play with 1 life remaining, or you Hail Mary by assuming that they don't have the cards to beat you right there.
It's true.
And then you try to take the risk and mitigate from that.
Even I'm like getting super intense over it. I'm
Well,
not even
there's-
playing in the match.
Here's the thing. There's an actual mathematical way as you take a look at the standings and how important it is for Virtus.pro and G2 to get this win, because winner will go to the finals. There is a statistical best play. It's just that, did we have enough time to calculate it all? I don't think so.
That's why you need reps on Quest Mage.
Yeah.
Is It is a
That's,
high
that's
IQ
where
deck.
you phone a friend and call Disguise Toast. Apparently, he has played enough mate games to tell you which one's the better one. Or has he? I mean, at this point, he also puts Yogg in his Quest Mage sometimes just to throw in a bunch of spice. So
Look,
maybe he's not exactly the guy to call.
Well, here's the point I want to get at. Every single deck has draws where you don't have to think much about it. You play your cards in order, and the deck works out. That's what makes it a good deck, is that it can get those draws. The rest of the time, you have to adapt yourself to the circumstance and figure out what the puzzle looks like. That's Quest Mage is not an easy thing
complicated
to do that with.
puzzle. Because you have to account for the probability of draws. You have to account for the probability of drawing burn for Primordial Glyph if you really need to rely on that. Because that's also a pivot. Like, oh, I can't win through Archmage and Sorcerer's Apprentice. I have to win through just burning. And then you have to account for, like, what's the chances that I draw, you know, the Cabal's Tome? Or am I going to be reliant on Cold Light doing damage? Or maybe I draw an Arcanologist to help throw in the Time Warp. There's so many different things. And that was a point where G2 will probably have a lot of what-if questions going into Games 8. Because so far, things have been holding true for the volley. Virtus Pro wins, G2 answers. Virtus Pro then responds, and then G2 cues another deck and kills it.
Well,
they need a break serve eventually.
And Shaman is I think, slightly favored versus Rogue, but not this Rogue hand. Virtus Pro has backstab SI7 engine. And the way that G2 is typically going to win this matchup is through securing a board presence. That's much harder to do if your opponent has big tempo swings. You're looking for specifically evolve turns once you go even with your opponent. They're probably not going to have that liberty this game, but honestly, I think for this scenario that their hand is quite good. And they don't know that, of course, because they can't see Virtus Pro's hand, but I think hands like these do add up to victories at times, where you just take the game slow, your opponent doesn't have a ton of pressure to apply to you, and you get to start hitting your big threats in stride.
Well, it's funny because you know, the way a lot of these matchups end up tilting, especially if they're like even. Let's just say Shaman Rogue is effectively even if Shaman is slightly favored. But a specific half of the deck beats the other half of the deck, right? Your SI and your backstabs and your other tempo, like South Sea Captain, beats the early openings, but it doesn't beat a Doppelgangster Evolve.
Right.
And then vice versa. The Shamans, like Portal, Jade Claws, beats the Firefly openings from Rogue, but it doesn't beat their slow with like Cairn and Bone Mares. So it's very funny how that sometimes works. Even if you don't have the optimal hand, it can line up poorly and cause a defeat.
Yeah. And G2's hand is quite poor. They ended up drawing patches, of course, which, I mean, we've seen time and again be a pure liability, but now they also draw the Bloodsail Corsair. So their hand is quite weak, and they need to find more stuff to simply fight with. And so, like, I think Jade Claws and Jade Lightning are actually two of their more important cards at this stage. Again, the slow start from Virtus Pro, though. I mean, this can still go either way.
Yeah, and there is value in holding on to the coin as well because they have Eye of Blackpaw. That is a card that's very hard for Rogue to deal with.
There's value in toteming it right away as well, though.
Yeah, if you coin Totem for 3 turns in a row, then Sting from Below will be able to be playable on turn 4 through Hero Power. So it.
So you even just get like a spell power here, and your opponent plays the Hellas out. You know, being able to kill it right away is somewhat important. And that's part of their debate here. Should we play Patches or Bloodsail Corsair to try to contest that? This is not an easy... It looks easy, but it's not easy. What do you give up by playing a particular minion here? What do you give up by doing something in a weird order? You know, Virtus Pro knowing that you have Patches, does that change the way that they can approach this game?
Unless G2 did something really weird and not put Patches in their deck.
Yeah, that would be very strange.
That'd be very strange and...
oh my gosh.
Game theory suboptimal.
Well, think about it though. Like if you could get down to like your last card and you played a pirate and Patches didn't come out, and let's say it's like Volcano all of a sudden. Your opponent's like, wait, what? It was their last card. They don't have Patches in the deck.
I mean, there could be a Volcano in this deck. If it's the slower Jade Shaman, but let's go ahead and tune in G2. Second Bloodsail Corsair.
They still have a 1/1 dagger.
Yeah.
I think you want a totem also to make Thing from Below a little
Yeah,
better.
you do.
Then you totem. So we probably Corsair next turn.
Yeah.
They will kill the 2 Patches, the totem.
They probably kept Captain, SI, Backstab, cards like that.
Ha.
You can activate the Southie next turn with this. But
we can't activate the Vice Bind.
Yes, but do we need it to activate it?
Okay,
I mean,
The
there's
hit
two
is to play
options.
exactly Devolve. If they play Devolve, we can play the deck and then decide if we want to. And we're gonna be the ones who are taking the board control.
So do you like?
If they don't have Devolve, they're just wrecked. Because Van Cleef, we're gonna hit them.
So you like it, Nyman, playing a 6/6?
I like it, yes.
Okay, so
I like it
Because
too.
4/4 is pretty bad because they play Jade Lighting, the other just dies. And this way we
Yeah,
just
you
get
could-
board control.
You could also do it like next turn, but then next turn there's more.
and they would not keep Evolve. Or at least I wouldn't. Like it only because of
They
white.
have still one keep card,
And then you
so
play Thing. It's pretty decent. It's not too bad they go YOLO Edwin for us. It's not really.
Follow up.
It's not really YOLO Edwin though, but yeah. I mean, we gotta hope that we're probably gonna coin Aya maybe even.
So you wanna think from below next turn?
I think
it's good,
so.
Because well,
You also dodged the foul spine. Now they play double backstep.
yeah, exactly.
I'm in charge now.
This
guy's toast.
I probably have to Maelstrom now.
Easiest topic below of our life. Not its evolve.
We can go Saronite Evolve.
That's bad. Right.
We get to 5 drops.
Yeah, and
And
they kill one off with their 2/1 and a 1/1.
What we can do is we can play Think from Below, coin patches into 2/1, and next turn Saronite evolve.
Is it too slow to just go Hero Power Maelstrom here? You make your thing from below.
No, we never Maelstrom.
So what about Think from Below, coin patches, and next turn Saronite coin evolve?
I like the thing from below idea.
Okay, I'm up for
But
that one.
I'm just thinking it's a bit too slow.
But there is nothing faster.
It's only Saronite coin evolve.
Yeah, but that's really bad.
Saronite coin Evolve sets up a good Maelstrom hero power with
No, but
patches.
they always gonna trade the 2/1s in. And the 1/1 probably. Your Maelstrom is not then getting it done.
I don't know. Do what you want.
Yeah.
And if they trade with Edwin,
We go Maelstrom. It's amazing.
slow.
No, every pressure is gone. If they trade it with Edwin, all the pressure is gone.
Let's hope they don't trade it with Edwin.
They probably don't. They probably go 3-3, 1-1, 1-1.
We'll need more tons later.
We can just get good towns, 500 towns.
I mean, play it. We have no.
Mm-hmm.
3-6.
That's okay.
Can be alright.
Can also die.
No, what I mean is like. Yeah,
They can-
we could probably die.
They can face tank it, and if they have 4 damage, we're dead.
For example, if we get evolve, we can like double trade evolve and get a 6-drop taunts.
No,
you go face twice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
Right.
I just thought it's a flame town.
Yes, for sure.
I thought we were playing Shop.
I thought it's flame.
That Vile Spine Slayer combo. Wait, hold on. Did we speak too soon?
It has to be Doomsayer off the Edwin, I think.
Oh my god, it happened! Is that it? Is that enough for G2 to come back? Oh no, the board sticks around unless they trade into the Harvest Golem. Because then Bone Mare.
They should be trading in the Harvest Golem.
But then they
here.
take 3 damage.
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean,
Wait. What's that card on the far right?
It makes a 2/2 if it dies during your opponent's turn.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like the if it died, just.
Wow, I mean, it's so unfortunate G2 got Bittertide Hydra here, but so fortunate they got Doomsayer. You know,
Yeah, I'm definitely still in Virtus Pro's camp, all things considering.
I am too. But I think G2, they have to make this play, and they have
They
hope
recognize it.
to live. Where they were 100% dead, now they're only like 90% dead. And now they're 100% dead again.
Oh my gosh. Are they though?
But yeah, that's brutal.
I mean, we spoke a little bit too soon.
The Earth Mother is near.
Okay, they're dead.
It would have taken like a weird corpse taker.
Wait,
with
no,
lifesteal or something.
They're not dead yet. Maelstrom Portal can give them a taunt. This is a taunt. Yes, if this is specifically Goldshire Footman or Shield Bearer, that is their last chance.
Righteous Protector.
Righteous Protector, it's a good thing too.
Wow, Virtus Pro break serve and now lead the series 5-3.
Yeah, and put on series point.
That is a big win for Virtus Pro and a big match for both these teams. The winner of this is looking at that top 4 spot.
They're at elimination point too. Like they can eliminate G2 from the Trinity series. Although I think there is a weird scenario where G2 can still come in through tiebreakers. But we'll have to figure out what ends up happening at the end of the standings. Just either way, you want to stay tuned for the broadcast. Find out what happens.
Such a big win for that Rogue. And Virtus Pro's opening hand was quite explosive. Taking the path of Edwin, applied just enough pressure to get over that hump. You know, imagine they had dealt, say 6 less damage that game. I mean, that's a completely different spot. I mean, suddenly Aya might be viable in that turn rather than a desperation for a taunt.
Really good spot there by David to play a turn 3 Edwin. Most of the time, he mapped it out. We have the SI activate next turn. We have ability to leverage damage because the Edwin gets the hit, and we avoid Jade Lightning, and that's a lot of spot where backstab best side looks really good. Because then you can still do the same thing with Edwin next turn, but then they're not as vulnerable to devolve. And now G2 is on their last life with Warrior. Warrior is a class that has a lot of flexibility. It could be built in so many different ways, but the thing that they have in common is that even all the deck versions that you can bring to the table, they're all kind of mediocre. They're just not game theory optimal.
I hate you sometimes, you know that.
Right now you don't.
I
right
love you at the same time, but it's also it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can tell you right now, Virtus Pro is loving Rogue. That was the key win of the series right there.
I mean, in my opinion, also I think the key win was game 1, being able to queue up Mage into the Rogue, sniping that, neutralizing all of the options.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go. This game number 9 can be a quick one.
Wow. Now, something to note, though, is that G2 does have Sleep with the Fishes in their deck, and that is one of the potential payoff cards in the scenario.
Virtus Pro has Prince Keleseth and Shazza. Do you think they know what to do with Prince Keleseth?
I mean, to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Prince Keleseth. I mean, the effect is extremely subtle. Without a solid grasp of theoretical hypogeometric distribution, the effect will go way over a typical player's head. You know, there's also a lack of 2-drops, which is definitely woven into the list. The deck building philosophy, for instance, draws heavily from some deck Reynad probably once thought of, but never actually built until 2 weeks into the expansion. I mean, the fans understand this stuff. You know, they have intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these cards, but goodness, this is a tough spot. This like completely reverses all that Sleep with the Fishes nonsense because everything's buffed up now. Yeah,
as long as they draw a pirate, it's just gonna dominate the board. I wonder if they even want to utilize Slam in this position to just eliminate a minion.
I think they're gonna have to execute something big. And now Cold Blood's open. Yikes.
Yeah, I think putting pressure on here is pretty good because Warrior kind of hasn't shown a way that they can deal with it pretty efficiently. But at the same time, Shield Slam and even just Slam itself is like pretty easily accessed because you could just Hero Power Slam for just 2 damage.
I think you're all right with that in Virtus Pro's spot because something that's happening is you're also forcing those answers right away. And when you're putting G2 on the back foot and forcing that removal, it means that there's a higher chance your stuff lives later on.
Yeah, but there also is the mana efficient play of like daggering, so you can kind of get a damage in anyways, and then you can Cold Blood, so like to fit the mana slot more efficiently.
I like damage efficiency.
Damage efficiency is pretty tempting considering that you don't even have a guaranteed turn 4 play. And if you pick up like Bone Mare or Karen or something else, you're back in the exact same spot. You just missed 3 damage.
The other thing too is what if G2 doesn't check it? Say their check is Brawl. That's 2 shots from Cold Blood you get in that.
True. And that damage will matter. A lot of decision making. Verspro chooses to wait. G2 had an answer twice over. Let's go ahead and tune in with what they're thinking about.
They have nothing then to follow up.
Easy shield block. Okay. Might be good.
Dagger. So they don't have the shield slam in their hand right now, or they have the second shield block.
Is this a DOS or the shield block?
Right. I think we coined Direhorn.
Yeah, Coin Direhorn is the play.
I like it.
It's like they might have backstab and like Wild Spine, but sure.
Then we just whirlwind fishes.
Nah, Wild Spine is it's a 5/6.
Depends.
Well, but which we want.
Wait a second. Isn't it better to play Tar Creeper? Cold Blood.
Yeah,
Cold Blood the 1-2. Backstep and trade our dagger in the 1-2 in and push.
No, like they probably the next round they played what? They play the second hatchling, or they will play some removal.
I like it. I
So
like
what do
it.
you-
I'm not.
The most you like the most aggressive or keeping backstep?
No, I like.
I like keeping the backsteps.
So what do you guys agree on? Keeping backstep or playing it?
Casey, we disagree. So I think you'll have to.
Okay. I gonna play. I wanna play
Okay, yeah.
the Cold Blood. I Cold Blooded the wrong target, but I.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. You can use the backstep because I don't really think that we need to keep the backstep thing. Yeah, Slayer. Yeah. Okay.
And this way we push the most damage. And now that we need to. Yeah. We play around in advance around Brawl. Yeah, I like this a lot.
I think slam shield slam maybe a shield block. Slam the 5-2.
If you use shield block, we have to use shield slam.
Yeah, I don't think we use shield block.
What now?
So you wanna like slay Armor Smith or something? It's quite bad too.
Armor Smith is not getting better. I mean, do you? Yeah.
I like slam armor smith more than slam hero power.
Yeah. It's definitely better than Hero Power.
Next turn we can kill the Tar Creeper by shield slamming it with shield block.
Yeah, you have to just play your stuff also a little in this one now.
G2 with a Coin Direhorn Hatchling didn't end up doing much. And now this shield block, armor up shield slam can come into play, but now they have to deal with multiple threats. And the Bone Mare's coming. This is starting to really pile on.
And this is all a catalyst because of that early Kaliseth turn. Without the Kaliseth turn, I think G2 might have been able to find some stabilization here, but forcing that extra mana from the Kaliseth suddenly is putting them in this awkward spot where Virtus Pro is always a step ahead. And that's how the Rogue deck wins. It stays a step ahead and just pressure, pressure, pressure until your opponent has to just tap out. I mean, there's not really much that they can do without having a giant swing turn here.
I'm looking if that swing turn's even possible right now. They have Execute, they have Shield Slam, and I think you just want to take care of that Cobalt Scale Bane, force them to have that Bone Mare. However, if I'm G2, I'm pretty scared because Virtus Pro skipped their turn 4. Effectively skipped their turn 4, which means that they probably have a pretty big minion coming in, which probably means that it's boning time.
Yeah, and that's why they saved this Execute for so long, is they wanted to be able to try to swing a turnaround.
Jeez.
But it's a 7/7 Bone Mare,
Is that a Tar Lord?
they get to swing this a bit, not entirely.
Yeah, and they get to play a Mountain Fire armor this turn as well if they so
3,
desire.
4, 5, 6, 7. They're 1 mana off of the Battle Rage to couple with it on the Whirlwind, too.
I don't think the Bone Mare's trading, so I think they'll be fine. Holding off on that. Mountain Fire, Whirlwind, execute. Go up to 18,
Look for the
staring
Sleep
at
of the Fishes
8,
next
and
turn.
they're dead to Leroy. Shadows up Leroy, Cold Blood number 2. 1 Cold Blood's been used, though. That's got to be reassuring.
The burst damage, I think, is something that they can't really play around at this point. They have to try to just clear the board.
And you know what? Virtus Pro still doesn't play a single pirate. Patches comes out as a 3/3.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So they're doing this to try to set up consecutive Whirlwind turns and have the double Whirlwind be enough to clear 5/5 with Sleep of the Fishes here. I think this is actually quite smart.
Yeah, I like this. And if they can survive long enough for N'Zoth, maybe there's a world where that can buy them enough time.
They're going to need some help.
I mean, if Virtus Pro goes a little bit wild on the board, the Sleep of the Fishes does open up.
And they do have to consider Brawl as well. You know, if Armorsmith is on board, there's a chance that Armorsmith can win the Brawl. Is that a game-losing scenario?
Let's tune in a VP. What are they going to do?
Hero doesn't even matter.
Because this way they
Hero doesn't
want to play
matter.
Sleep with the Fishes. If you play Sai, I mean, it still goes under Sleep with the Fishes, but Slayer is just a 5/6 body.
So you just want to play Firefly. Positioning doesn't really matter except that the bone.
One in the center.
Good, because now we cannot kill the Bone Mare.
Yeah. I mean, we can't kill the lifetime either. Second fishes.
1 wins. 1 wins.
It works.
So what are our routes?
Battle Rage first, I think.
Wait, what? Oh, wait a second. We can't play Mountain Fire Armor, right?
Wait.
You,
If you face tank the 5/6 and Hero Power Shield Slam
Yeah, it's full clear.
the Bone Mare, you can full
Okay.
clear. But how much mana is that?
And I think we
It's
don't.
only it's only 5 mana. You can also play the armor, the
I
Mountain
think
Fire
we do
armor.
it.
yeah.
I think we
That's
play
alright.
Mountain Fire Armor first. No, we can't.
Middle.
We can't because of it has fishes.
Yeah, it has the fishes.
Yeah. You can play it middle. I mean, they have a 1/2 in the hand now.
I like it.
Yes. Wait. Positioning ever matter?
Yeah, position. No, it doesn't matter. No, Sai.
Yes. I goes in the middle.
No, yeah. Die.
I don't want a redagger because I have enough mana anyway in case
Yeah, okay.
Whirlwind Fishes. Doesn't matter.
Die.
I still have double pirate. I still have 4.
You still have
6
two
pirates. 6 pirates in my deck. 6 pirates. And Patch's success was also lethal. 7 lethal draws. Come on, bruh.
I think it is Armorsmith wins because you often trade the 4/2 in the 4/4 there.
No.
Then we cannot play Brawl.
Yes.
We can Whirlwind Battle Rage, hope we draw Brawl and then win the Brawl, but that's super unlikely.
Yeah, you can draw Wind second Fishes, but yeah.
I don't think we can also draw Taunt.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Wow.
Concede.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Good job, boys. Okay, so
my
the
God.
only way we don't go
Everything we
through
were afraid of, and we still won.
complexity. If complexity is gonna win 6-1, that's it.
Virtus Pro is joining us for the live finals here for Season 2 of the Trinity Series. Off the back of great play throughout the entire regular season and a very key substitution of Casey for Dr. Hippie.
Wow. Wow. I mean, what a final game to play, too. And you saw it every single stage. The Keliseth opener was actually key. A lot of times throughout Trinity, we've seen it not matter.
I almost thought that the Warrior could have turned that around. Like, if they were able to get 1 point of stabilization, Rogue had nothing left.
And that's the key, is that 1 point of stabilization. The Warrior deck is dedicated to that, and the Rogue deck is dedicated to the opposite of that, where they want to just continue to reinforce that position turn after turn. And once G2 had gotten low enough, they had so many lethal draws. It's like a matter of time until you close that gap. So the Keliseth opener there definitely did matter. But again, throughout Trinity series, we've seen them not be able to establish that point of a continuous chain of attack, and that stabilization point comes very easily, and then the buff doesn't matter that much anymore.
That's right. So our first guaranteed 100% through in team is Virtus Pro, and it's a nice mark of consistency. You know, a lot of times we talk about some of the best teams in Hearthstone, but Virtus Pro doesn't come up very often. Maybe you should reconsider. We have a member from Virtus Pro joining us for a very quick interview, and it's Casey. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm super happy that we qualified. Like, during the game, I think it was Warrior versus Warlock, or when the bunny told me that I'm playing too fast, I was super nervous. Like, the last few, I was so close away from qualifying for a bunch of stuff, and then I always lost in the last round, like in playoffs or WESG, and now I'm just happy that I finally got there.
Yeah, you know, that actually happened a lot to Oskaka in the very beginning of Hearthstone. Like, he'd always be one round away from, like, making a qualification, like a top 8 cutoff. And it happened to you very recent the past year and a half. So this was a big win for you. Well, what's it like doing it with Virtus Pro guys? You know, people that we're not used to usually seeing you with outside of the Trinity series.
Like, I'm long time friends with Bunny Hopper since, I think, his last call in 2016. So since over 1 year, close 1 year. And I'm super happy about that. They asked me, do you want to join? We practiced like every single day, 5 to 6 hours. I just wanted to win really bad. And yeah, I'm happy.
I think it's paid off for sure.
Yeah, it definitely did. Did you feel like you had some big shoes to fill replacing Dr. Hippie with the impressive year that he had in 2016?
Yeah, sure. Of course, I respect Hippie a lot, and I also respect myself a lot. But like the game when I was a Rogue versus Mage, it was Rogue versus Mage. I was really nervous. Like, it was all on me. If we lose as Murdoch, as Rogue versus Quest Mage, we probably would lose the series. So I was shaking the very first time.
Gotcha. Well, it's been a while since we've seen you in Southern California when the Spring Championships last year, top 8. So is there anything you're looking forward to do here in SoCal besides, of course, play Hearthstone tournaments?
I'm actually super happy to meet the NA players. If Love Your Lot's going to qualify, and also meeting Nyman for the very first time. So that's probably my main goal, to see them the first time.
Assuming NA players go to the finals. That's a bold prediction, Casey. But congratulations on your victory, and we'll see you in the finals.
Yeah.
All right, some love for the NA region from a EU player. I would have never thought I lived to see the day.
Yeah, and you also have to think about the, G2 in this spot, too. I mean, they're thought of to be one of the strongest, most consistent teams throughout Hearthstone, and now this is 2 Trinity series in a row where they're just barely missing the mark. 1 series. The difference.
They're not completely eliminated yet. There is this world where Misfits and Complexity and a bunch of other teams end up dropping series, and there is an opportunity for G2 to sneak their way in.